In 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitar. Thanks for watching. This is a very cool live stream and we have my good friend Dan Cooke from Guitarwood Experts. Thank you for being here, Dan.
Thank you very much.
We have been, so you came out and spent the day here in the shop.
Yes.
We had a lot of plans to make guitar necks and drink beer and eat sandwiches, and we got 2 of those things done.
Yes, I think we did a really good job on the sandwiches.
So anyway, thanks to everyone who's joining us. This is the thing that we wanted to start doing when we got the new shop. We thought, hey, this would be a great place where we can have lectures or people come in from their areas of expertise and come in and talk to people. And then when we figured out how we can do the live stream a little more effectively than we were doing it 6 months ago, it's a lot easier to do live because people they don't have to come here.
Right.
They can sit around in their underwear at home.
Yes.
It's probably a little too cold where most people are to be sitting around in their underwear unless they got the heat cranked up. But
that's why we have heating.
That's not at my house. Mrs. Toast keeps it really cold in there.
Really?
So yeah.
I'm menopausal, so I'm really hot all the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So for those of you who don't know Dan, we have known Dan. Dan has been with us making videos with Texas Toast Guitars literally since the very beginning of our YouTube channel. You were one of the first videos that we ever did at the Winter NAMM show, and you've been supporting us through materials and video content for years now. So it's really cool to finally have you come into the shop. We've got a bunch of stuff that we want to talk about. I don't know how long we're gonna go.
Yeah. We'll feel it out.
It's gonna just be but there's a boatload of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Well, my flight leaves tomorrow.
Okay,
so
so
there will have to be
there's a hard stop at
Yeah.
0500 on Friday.
Exactly.
It probably won't go that long,
Yeah.
but okay.
Well, the battery will be dead.
Oh no, we're plugged in. Yeah,
oh, well, never mind.
Yeah,
Except for a power outage. We're good.
So Dan, you got a beverage?
I got a beverage.
You want to jump right in?
I'm doing Dos Equis today, actually.
Okay,
That's
cool.
right.
We
Mexican
are
Mountain Dew.
sponsored by Coors, and so Coors is the official beer of Texas Toast Guitars. Coors, it's yours. That's the new slogan that they're going with. That we came up with together in conjunction with.
Now, you mean together? You mean you guys came up with it?
That's
together.
right. That's right. Texas Toast and Coors both came up with the slogan. Coors, it's yours. So yeah, you can. It's gonna be on the next Super Bowl commercial that they do. I'm pretty sure. We're kind of a big deal.
Well,
there.
since I'm here, why don't we first talk about the little extra part? Because we told everyone we're going to give them a coupon code so they could save some money.
All right, let's do that. Let's talk about we here at Texas Toast we do this thing we call industry partners. Now we get nothing from it except build our customer base, give you guys something back for watching, and help promote businesses that have helped us, like Guitarwood Experts. So the coupon code that Dan has given us is, in fact,
And it's a hard one to remember, so I try to make it real simple.
we should write it on the whiteboard.
Oh, that's fun. Can I do it?
You
You
bet.
could scooch the whiteboard over towards Dan a little bit and pull it a little closer to you on the.
Okay. All right. We're shooting from the hip here.
Like
There you
this?
go.
Is that
Great.
good?
Fantastical.
Nice. Okay.
AS. S. 2 S's.
No.
Ready for it?
Ready. So let me get this straight. If you go to guitarwoodexperts.com
Yes.
and you find a hunk of timber that you want,
Right.
and at checkout you put this Texas Toast 15 in, you get 15%
15% off your entire purchase.
off the whole shooting match.
Yeah, so if it's one body, if it's 20 bodies.
Okay.
So you can actually save quite a bit of money with it.
Yeah. I bet you can save 15% almost.
At least 15%, but probably not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it depends.
But once you add tax, it'll be a little less.
There's
than-
tax and shipping is not part of that.
We're in
deal.
Oregon,
Fucking
so we don't
taxes.
have tax.
You don't?
No, it's wonderful.
That's
I love
awesome.
it.
Let's go move to
It's
Oregon.
really
May.
great. Yeah.
So guys, if you've been wanting to get a good deal from Guitarwood Experts, as of later on tonight, right, Dan? It's not active right
not
this
live
second.
yet,
You
no.
got to press the button on the thing?
Yeah. So when after the show,
Okay.
I'll activate it.
Okay, so type in Texas Toast 15
Mm-hmm.
at checkout, and you get 15% off your entire purchase from Guitar Wood Experts, which is, it's already good stuff and it's already good price, but now you save 50%, and that ain't bad.
No.
So Dan, tell us a little bit about what is Guitar Wood Experts? I mean, I know what those words mean, but
Right.
what do you guys bring to the party?
Well, Guitar Wood Expert started about, I think it was 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't with the company at the time. But our main division decided to open a retail unit so we could actually bring the wood directly to the consumer, because at that point we were only able to deal with large quantities of wood. And as a local builder, it
Do
was
you know how
really
many
hard.
wood jokes there's going to be during this
Oh.
live stream? It's going to be nothing but.
I
We've
hope
had
a
this
lot of wood
conversation
jokes.
already.
Yeah,
I
okay.
hope a lot of wood jokes. I mean, my life is full
sure.
of wood. Well, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah, but when it comes right down to it, we were trying to find a way to bring to the consumer a way of getting high quality wood that they couldn't get at the store, because most people, the only place they can buy lumber is at a hardware store. You know,
Yeah.
they don't have musical luthery tone shops everywhere in the country.
even hardwood shops are tricky to come by.
Very hard.
Unless you're in, like we have a couple here in town that are
Mm-hmm.
okay for musical instruments and,
Yeah.
and really great for furniture building.
Craft and
Yeah,
all the other
yeah.
stuff. Right. But so it was a little difficult. So we wanted to make sure we could talk to people and get the wood out to them, but get it to where the consumer that was only building like one, maybe 10 guitars a month, so not
Mm-hmm.
a large amount, but definitely something where they were concerned about their quality.
Okay.
And so we realized there was a market out there, so we decided to find a way to source it to them. And the internet was just this amazing
Yeah.
way that we could get it out to this huge amount of people.
Yeah.
And that's what we went for. And
Okay.
it's been working pretty well since.
So Guitar Wood Experts is actually a subsidiary of a big, like is
Larger,
the,
not
yeah.
big. I wouldn't say like it's not massive, but yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so what's the parent company of Guitar Wood Experts?
North American Wood Products.
That's what's on my on all my shipping stuff that
Yeah.
comes from North. Okay,
Yeah, I keep clicking the wrong thing on the UPS. It's my fault.
no, because I'm like, well, who the hell is that? And
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually have an order coming from you guys. It'll probably. I'm kind of surprised it didn't come today.
Right, I'm thinking probably tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about what we've got coming because we've got some new stuff happening too. So, so the bigger company though, when you say you wanted something that you could sell direct to the consumer, who does the big company sell to?
Well, they sell to the guys who are making, the larger factories.
Okay.
I don't want to name names on the show.
Okay.
But
Gibson.
shh. No. We don't want to name names. But the larger companies that are out there.
People, names that people might know of and
Yes.
recognize.
And the
Okay.
thing is, there's so many of them out there buying wood from different sources. So they don't only go to like one place to
Okay.
get wood. They go to a whole bunch of places to source all their different types of products they
Okay.
bring. And we had a really good selection of ash and mahogany. And it was something that we had a surplus of and we knew a lot about and we've been working with for decades.
Okay.
And so we took that knowledge and we found a way to bring it to the consumer and try to make it as affordable for them as possible.
And furniture companies too, presumably, or just musical instruments? too?
Well, we didn't really deal much with Guitar Wood Experts. Doesn't
No,
do
no,
that.
the big outfit.
We'll sell to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, one of our biggest divisions is decking.
So like outside
Yeah.
decks.
Oh
okay.
yeah. It's you go to the warehouse and it is huge. I mean,
How big is y'all's facility?
well, our facility where we're stored is pretty small.
That's the Guitar Wood
That's
Experts.
Guitar Wood
part.
Experts.
Okay.
The actual facility for the decking, I don't know. It's this whole place here, maybe about 15, 20 of them.
Okay.
It's pretty
That's-
good
That's a
size.
pretty awesome
Yeah.
sized spot then.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, and the guys that work there are huge. I mean, you should see them. They got muscles like this because they're just carrying decking all day.
Yeah.
You gotta
You would
have
love
like long freaking boards
Yeah.
and how many different species.
Oh yeah.
So that takes up quite a bit of real
It
estate.
does, and I
yeah.
love the names. Like you go through them, and you're like looking at all the different names, like, the
Ipe.
and
You guys
Tiger
said
Wood.
Tigerwood. Yeah, those are so dense. I would never. I
Yeah.
bet it makes
Mrs.
a
Toast
beautiful
wants to be on
deck.
this side of the camera.
Yeah, I wouldn't use it for like a guitar, because I wouldn't want a 35-pound
Yeah.
guitar.
No.
Yeah.
But
So are you guys the redheaded stepchild of the big parent company, or are you guys the star the superstars?
Probably neither.
Okay.
I'd say we're more kind of like in the middle.
Do you
Middle
want to
child.
send a
Do the job.
shout out to any of the guys back at the factory watching?
Well, Calvin, of course. Hey,
Yeah,
Calvin.
you, you were telling us stories about how this crazy stuff that Calvin does, and
Calvin's just amazing.
every time we get a shipment from him,
yeah.
I know it's gonna be good because he hand selects all of our
He
stuff. for
does.
us.
So Calvin's been in the industry now for in the music industry as a player, I'd say about 30 years professionally.
Okay.
I mean, so he knows like when you say like, I want a guitar, I want it to look good.
Yeah.
He's the guy that knows what that guitar is supposed to look like.
Okay.
And his knowledge of them, and he used to trade and sell vintage.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, he's really got his pulse.
He's not just a guy who works
No.
in the wood mill. He's
He's actually on the other side. He's the
musician
player side.
Okay.
And so it's really nice to have that guy there with that knowledge. And on the other hand, we have like Alan. Alan's this guy who has this incredible knowledge of the actual wood.
And I met him at the NAMM show.
That's right.
Okay.
And he goes, and he's been up there in Alaska. That's where he grew up.
Oh, wow.
And so he's worked there with the lumbers, and just amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
The stories they have is a little risque, so I won't share too many.
You can. This is not a program for kids, so.
There's
No.
a discllaimer at the beginning of
Is
the
it?
videos.
I don't think it's big enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it's big enough. We should kind of, we'll ease into it.
Well, do any of them start like with a one-legged prostitute at in
No.
a double outhouse?
No, nothing that nice.
All right. Okay.
Most
Nothing
of them
that
are worse.
nice.
Yeah.
A double.
I don't know. Like one on top of the other.
Yeah.
Because that way this is fine.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
apparently if there's lots of snow, you don't want to be. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were talking before you came out here about some things that we wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a bunch of questions from Patreon supporters.
Yes.
And we're going to take your questions too. So that's one of the neat things about having the live stream is we don't have to, go back later and type it in. We can answer the questions right now.
Mm-hmm.
People are standing by.
Are they
they?
standing by?
We are
Oh,
to
that's
answer
right.
the questions that
yeah.
the people ask.
That's right. Mrs. Toast and Chris are standing by to screen the questions.
Yeah.
We're not going to like if we get the question like, wow, you guys are so awesome. How can I be as handsome as Dan and Matt?
Well, you need to pull your hair out right now to be.
I know. I'm feeling a little
He's
bit
really kinda,
hair.
I can pull
stealing
mine
your-
back.
No, it's not going to help. I'm just going to, yeah.
Occasionally I do pigtails.
Do you?
Yeah. Very rarely.
Sometimes Mrs. Toast will put me in a French braid, which is
Isn't that
really
fun?
And then he pulls it out.
Yeah.
Usually it's for Zombie Jesus Day
Yeah.
or Easter. Yeah, and then it comes out and he's like,
Do you have
yeah.
the robe on?
No.
we put
I
a
don't
little
have a robe.
stigmata in
We
his
don't do
wrist.
that.
Yeah, no, we don't. But we should.
So anyway, guys, we're here to answer your questions. We're here to talk with Dan about some questions that we have. We're here to show you guys some stuff. We got the whiteboard here for visual aids. Further into that end, Texas Toast 15 at checkout at Guitar Wood Experts. And by the way, we make nothing off of that deal. So guys, this is all Dan is doing this for you. He's not doing this as a favor to me. Well, I guess it is.
It is.
But he's really doing it to help you guys out too. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's jump right in.
You want to do the first question, maybe?
The first
Yeah,
Patreon question.
Maybe we'll just do like a question there, make sure we hit them.
All right.
And then we'll kind of switch it back. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll feel it
So Patreon member Kelly Jones asks, I understand the beauty, uniqueness, the feel, and value that wood provides electric guitars. But does it really make any difference in the way the electric guitar sounds?
That's a good question. That's a big
Look,
question.
okay, let's both answer that because
Yes.
I bet you we agree on parts and disagree on parts.
Actually, what you just said is my answer.
Okay.
Yes. It does on certain parts. It doesn't on
Yeah.
other parts. Like certain parts of the guitar, I'm sorry, they're just not going to have any impact at all. And other ones are so structurally, needed
Yeah.
that it will make a rather large difference, both on the species, the color, everything.
I had a student at the setup class ask me, is tone wood really a thing? And I said, yeah, it is. But you can make it be not a thing depending.
Exactly.
So does each wood sound different or unique when you
Oh, yeah.
tap on it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that signature come through in the amplifier? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on a lot of stuff.
There's so many different parts of this. So when you're dealing with the actual electric guitar, the electric guitar in my mind is half of the instrument. The other half of the instrument is the amplifier and electronics.
Yeah.
Because, you're trying to get that, unlike an acoustic guitar, which is a completely kinetic instrument, the strings vibrate, they go through, it's making the soundboard vibrate, that causes, that is 100% sound quality based upon the wood.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the electric, that's not how the electric guitar generates the sound. It's actually a small AC pump. So you have the magnets, and when the strings move in front of the magnets, that creates the small electrical impulse that runs through the wire. The housing of the pickup is what's really going to change the ability to muffle that vibration.
Now, what if you're like me, and when you go to the guitar shop and there's 10 different guitars, you play them all acoustically to see which ones sound the best before you go plugging them in.
Mm-hmm.
We discovered when we did our kind of hollow experiments that we did recently, and the last one we used ash that we got from you and torrefied cedar that we got from you, and it was radically different from the exact same guitar that we built out of masonite.
Yeah,
So when played acoustically, it made a big difference.
huge difference. And when you play it plugged in, did that make a difference?
You can jam a bunch of EQ in front of stuff and change everything. So
Yeah, see, that's where it gets a little tricky.
yeah.
But when it comes like the wood, especially like when you're saying like, does it matter for the playability of the guitar? I think it does a little bit, because I know a heavy guitar,
Sure.
I play a little different than a lighter guitar. Mostly, am I standing? Am I sitting? So
Yeah.
it changes certain aspects of my playing. As far as the actual tone that comes out of the guitar, it does change, but a very small amount. Very small amount.
Yeah, I don't see it as being the reason to have neat wood. I think neat wood is enough of a reason on
Exactly.
itself to have neat wood, and if you
And
if
the
you want it,
pickups.
have it.
And the pickups themselves,
Yeah.
like, are you dealing with floating pickup design, like on is it housed on the pick guard, or is it actually screwed into the wood?
Yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah.
everything's gonna make a difference.
We've got a friend who has this gizmo that plugs. It's a brass piece, isn't it, Chris? That Mike uses to mount pickups to the wood. You look like you're really angry.
No.
Well, now you look like you're really scary.
Chris is giving me this look like.
No, this is one of those moments
He's
that
all
I was
like-
talking about, Dan,
Yeah.
where Matt talks and talks and talks,
And
and,
you're like-
all of a sudden, I'm drifting off into space, and then hey,
Kumquat.
Chris,
Kumquat.
And here's
That's what you're
Chris.
supposed to say. Kumquat.
And then
kumquat.
There
it's
you
like
go.
your brain is like, hey, how come W starts with a D?
Chris is all like, "You better have $500 worth of ass I can come over there and whip."
Because it's 2 U's. W.
Double V. Okay, so moving
So-
right along.
Pickups attached to wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
There
has
are
a brass thing that attaches.
there are those people who believe that is a thing, and
Oh,
there
are you talking
some.
about the like fat finger? Is that what
I
it's
don't
called?
know
No,
what
we're
it's
talking
called.
about mounting a pickup directly to the body instead of suspending it off a ring.
Oh,
So you
okay.
get more
That makes
punch
a
like
difference.
brass
Yes.
knuckles?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense
Sounds
when you put it in
bad.
terms I can
I like it.
understand.
I think if you use the word brass knuckles, that's good enough right there.
What was
Yeah.
that movie, Brass Knuckles?
I don't know what you're talking
They were
about.
Canadian. Never mind.
Oh, that was from that show you were watching last night. Okay, Tom Collub asks, considering semi-acoustic guitar creation, do we have to use other types of wood compared to solid body guitars? And how is the type of wood affecting the sound when using coiled pickups, not microphone or piezo?
Big question. Big question on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that goes back to our hollow box that has to be fairly fragile to sound good.
Well, okay, so, I mean, you know this way more than I do, but when you're dealing with a semi-hollow, there's several ways of constructing the semi-hollow. Does it have a sustain block in the middle? What type
Yeah.
of pickups does it have? What's the depth of the... I mean, there's so many parts that it's not really a one answer will fit all question. And whenever I see something like that, in my mind, it actually lets us have a little bit more fun. Because since there isn't really a rigid yes or no answer, it lets everyone have a little room to experiment
Yeah.
and find out what's going to sound best for them.
I still submit to you that the more or the less substantial the box is, that is to say the body of the guitar,
Right.
the better the acoustic properties of said guitar
It will,
are.
'cause it'll
so
vibrate
if,
more.
so if you have a plywood top and back,
Yeah.
it's gonna sound different acoustically than
Way
if you have a
different.
spruce top and a solid
Yeah.
solid mahogany or
And,
maple.
and we
band.
are seeing a lot more of this kind of hybrid design come out in the industry. One, because the technology is getting to the point where it's allowing us to play with it more.
Yeah.
You know, so much more modeling's going on. So much more. Yeah, it's just there's different things that people are coming up with now that we just didn't have options for 20 years ago.
But if you're in a rockabilly band
Yeah,
and you have a flying V,
yeah,
you have the wrong guitar, no
do.
matter how it sounds.
you do because it's
So
got the wrong look.
Yeah, you kind of gotta go for that if you want
That's more
that.
style though.
But I think guitar players want style points.
They do, of course. Well, of course we do. I mean, everyone does, right? I mean, you want to
You want to look cool.
You want, but you know, it kind of goes both ways. Like my buddy Calvin and I were talking, and we had this great conversation where if you show up somewhere and you've got a flying V, you better know how to play.
Yeah.
Because you
yeah.
can't just sit there and like occasionally strum out some chords.
Eh,
You gotta
yeah,
be the guy that gets
yeah.
that because it's a flashy guitar.
There
it's
was
out
a guy
there,
who
you gotta
played for
push
the
it.
Fabulous Thunderbirds, Nick Curran,
Nick Curran.
and he always played the wrong guitar in that band. He always had a pink Kramer or something like
And
that.
the reason was because he could flat out play.
Yeah, he could get
But
it. Yeah.
he could play so well,
Yeah, yeah.
and nobody was gonna say anything because they were like,
Yeah.
Well, they'll say something once. and
Well,
then-
and the idea was if that guitar was standing on stage and
Uh-huh.
everybody's like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
This dude, what, yeah. And then he comes out and he knocks it out of the park,
Yeah.
which he
Yeah.
did. Then they shut up. Because I've gone the opposite way too. The guy's got a SRV Strat up there. He better be able to.
Oh,
he
yeah,
better
right,
be. He
right.
better
Yeah,
rule.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Are there any questions from the audience so far, Chris, that we need to get to?
I think we should continue with what you're talking about. There's some questions, but we can fill those in.
Okay.
Later.
Okay.
All right. Let's
So-
do a little deep dive into the Forest Stewardship Council.
So,
this is one that
FSC.
this is one that I posed to the Patreon members. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that and how that's going to impact the guitar wood experts.
So, FSC, which is the easier way to say
Yeah,
the
as I just
Forest
discovered.
Stewardship Council, and I will not be saying it like that anymore.
Okay.
The FSC's job is to, how can I put it? They first came out in the mid-90s, in Europe actually, and they realized that we were having a problem, and we were going to have a much bigger problem unless we started taking a hold of it right now.
Okay.
And the problem was, we love wood, and we keep using it so much so at a faster rate than we can grow it.
Okay.
And that became the problem, where they said they didn't want to have a world where, like the Lorax showed, we're not going to have trees anymore. So they said, okay, you can't do that. We have to find a way of managing the forests in a sustainable way so that our generation has it, and the next generation has it, and the next generation has it, so we can have the wood that we need for all time. And it's been a very important thing that we've been trying to work with. And we
So-
were one of the first members in the U.S. to join with them.
But you guys go kind of above and beyond that. One of the things that we use exclusively for our build your own guitar classes are your eco recovery body blanks. Now dig this, you guys. I got one
Watch the
here.
bear. There you go.
So Dan, this is one of your 4-piece body blanks. This is Swamp Ash, right?
Yes.
And guys, I'm gonna see if I can get this in the picture here, so you can see. So what's the deal with this? Why do you have
4 pieces?
1 piece or 2 piece or 4 piece?
So I'm going to use the board for a minute.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to try to leave this up, but if I need to, I'll erase it. So Texas Toast 15.
Yeah, we'll remind you guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So when you deal with lumber and it comes in, it doesn't all come in shaped exactly like a guitar block.
What?
I know, it's crazy. So when we get the wood and it comes like a big long piece like this, okay, we're going to glue it up and make bodies out of it. And let's say it's 10 or 11 inches across.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to need it to be 7. So we're going to rip it like that. Now we take this 7-inch board here, and then we're going to chop it, and then we're going to hinge match it, and that's where we rotate it around like this.
Okay.
And then we get our little 2-piece
So then you
body.
got now you got perfect for Strat or Telly
Perfect.
or
And then we'll
P-Bass.
do the same thing on this side here, and we'll rotate that around. So this board now we'll get 2 bodies out of.
Okay.
But we're left with this one really long strip here.
Yeah.
And for a long time, people didn't want to look at that strip.
So that's what we got going here. We got a
Yeah.
bunch of 4-inch chunks, right?
Right, because it's all about waste management. You
So-
can either choke on the waste or you can find a way to use the waste.
So wait a minute. Back in the old days, what did they do with the 4-inch chunks?
Well, if you were lucky, it might go to some place selling craft wood. In most
Okay.
cases, it would go into the fire.
Okay.
Now, when you're dealing with trees, now, believe it or not, they do grow on trees.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the problem is it takes a long time for them to grow.
Okay.
It's not a very fast process. And depending on the species that you're actually harvesting, it can take anywhere between 30 years up to 300 years
Yeesh.
for it to be considered music grade wood.
Okay.
So if you think about that, pre-Revolutionary War
Yeah.
is something that they use a lot on acoustic guitar tops.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten anything after that yet. The
Okay.
trees aren't old enough, they don't sound good enough.
Okay.
So it's the same thing here. It's about trying to manage the waste and keep it to a minimum while making sure we can get the most products out to the people in a way they can enjoy them.
And that seems like a really perfect application for, especially for electrics, because a lot of this stuff is going to get
Oh yeah.
painted black or some other cool paint color.
Or it might have a top on it.
Yeah.
It might have a pick guard,
Yeah, pickguard would cover up a good chunk of
a
this.
sunburst finish
Mm-hmm.
where you can't see the sides. There's so many different ways to do that you don't always need that perfect 1 or 2 piece guitar body.
Are there any perks for you guys with the FSC for doing stuff like this? So this is just something that you guys just do because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. And the FSC and our company, they do align on most of our ideas, where
Yeah.
we're just trying to make sure that we use the most amount of wood possible, and we can get it out to the maximum number of people as possible, and sustain the wood we have. So whenever
Okay.
we can, we do harvest FSC wood. That we talk to the mills, and that's something we always ask them. So we have our paperwork in line, and we're an FSC wholesaler. So
Okay.
So the FSC monitors everything from going out there in the woods, chopping down the tree, all the way to the production of the final end product. And they want to see this little, and it's like a shape like, it's a check mark like this, and then it kind of goes into like a little tree.
Oh,
See, and that's the FSC label. So if you ever see this, that means the woods comes from
is
a
it like a
sustainable
stamp
source.
or a brand?
It's
or?
a brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I know we talked about wanting to talk about what I'm going to ask you next.
Uh-huh.
What's the opposite of the FSC?
The anti-FSC.
The anti-FSC.
Yes, that would be poaching.
Okay, so
Poaching. And poaching
we
is-
all know what that means when we're talking
Can
about a
we-
rhinoceros.
I hate to interrupt.
No.
Oh, no, go ahead.
One of the most fascinating things that we talked about earlier today was the different versions of how we harvest trees.
Mhm.
You talked about clear cutting, and then you talked about
A select
the other
harvest.
Oh, yeah,
select
yeah.
harvest. Let's talk about that first.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
That's perfect.
Please,
That's a
and
great
then we
idea.
can move on into the other thing.
So there's a whole bunch of different ways of harvesting trees. Obviously, it goes out to some guy out in the woods with a chainsaw. But where they pick the wood from and what they use is very important. So when you're dealing with, let's start with the select harvest. That's our favorite method. And that's the least invasive method to go out into the forest.
How they do that?
You have like a whole bunch of trees out in the woods. If you grab a little marker, you can help me. You want to draw some trees?
No, I was thinking about just sitting here drinking beer.
Oh, that's fine
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So you
Take
got a
some
whole
clouds.
bunch of trees, right?
How about a happy little bush?
Yeah. There's some
There you
birds.
go.
There you go.
There you go.
We have a green marker too.
Blue. Anyway, so you have all these trees out there, and select harvest is where they go out there and they pick one tree that has the wood that we need.
So like,
instead
so
of
how do
doing the
they
whole
pick
thing-
it? Like they go, well, we want that maple, or we want that
Right.
something.
They literally do. They're
Okay.
like, we're looking for something with these attributes of this age bracket.
Hey,
And it
man.
also might be something that maybe has already been damaged.
Okay, so that needs to get cut anyway.
It needs to be cut anyway.
you.
And so we take that tree and they just chop that one tree down. And so the rest of the forest is still intact. It's not
Okay.
where they actually go out there and
Select
clear cut
harvest is what
And
that
that's
is.
select harvest.
Okay.
And it's really good for like our mahogany. And I'll send some pictures to you so you can put them on your thing so you can show people if you want.
Okay, cool.
And it's where they go out and they just pick that one tree, they chop it down, they cut it up with like chainsaws right out there, they put them on burrow backs and they bring them out.
Wow.
It's really amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. And that way we don't damage the entire world. It's
Okay.
just taking that one tree, and then of course you have to replant.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many trees do they have to replant after they cut one down?
Well, that depends on what's
Like where they are?
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's different laws.
In the
that they have to
United
follow.
States, what do they have to do?
I think they normally do like maybe 10-to-1 or 20-to-1.
Oh wow! So
It's
it's I thought it was 3, but so if it's that many, that's
well,
cool.
it can, because the problem is, and this is where the species goes into it.
Okay.
Not every species has a high success rate. So you might have
It's kind of like artificial insemination. I'm gonna put 12 fertilized eggs in
Okay.
your uterus.
and hope one hits.
And but then sometimes you get the octomom.
Yes.
That's not a bad thing when it comes to more lumber.
But it
Eventually-
is
and
when it comes to the
eventually-
octomom.
Eventually, the other bigger, stronger trees will probably choke the weaker
Exactly.
ones out anyway. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like Darwinism in there too.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So what's the next thing besides that?
Clear cutting.
Clear cutting.
Clear cutting. Now, clear cutting, of course, has gotten a lot of bad rep through the years for a lot of good reasons. It's very easy to go crazy with clear cutting. And that's where you have all these trees like this, and they'll just chop them all down.
Okay.
And the problem with that is you've completely destroyed the forest. It's gone.
Okay.
Now, the good side is if you do this in small patches, it's actually good for the forest. Because what you're doing is you're now allowing the ground floor to get sunlight where it could no longer get sunlight.
So is this sort of like sometimes the forest fire is the best and worst thing that can happen.
Some trees
Exactly.
will only propagate
With
when
heat,
there's such
right?
heat
Yeah.
that it can open up the pine
Okay.
cones and
So
drop the
at
seeds.
times, that's the best method, but it's not always the best method.
Okay.
And that's where the FSC comes in. Those guys are, they're built their organization about figuring out what's the best thing to do in each case.
Okay.
For both the consumer and also for the world.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a big job.
So what if I own a great big forest?
Yeah,
It's on my land.
yeah.
Can I just hack down as many trees as I want?
Depending on the state and the country, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
I know in Oregon, I definitely couldn't.
You could or could not?
Could not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
all
in
right.
the city limits where I live, I have to get a permit for every tree.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it
But if
completely-
you if I owned 10 acres of forest in Oregon,
my
I
friend
would
Alan,
need
like
to
I was
get.
telling you about.
Yeah. Yeah.
He actually has to go down, and I think it was like 2 weeks ago, he said, I have to go work my forest. And
Okay.
he has to go out there and figure out which trees fell in his forest, and he has to remove them because they're gonna start rotting
Yeah.
the second they hit the ground.
Yeah.
And so he has to go out there and continually work his forest.
Wow.
And
And,
so-
and then you have to clear cut some, for forest fire. You have to keep it
Yeah.
away from structures. and-
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rules that they have to follow. And the
Okay.
other thing too is about how often they can cut a certain area. So what they normally like to do is, let's say that they divide up the area in like a pie.
Okay.
And they'll make 30 slices.
Or
I won't draw 30 slices, but they'll draw 30 slices.
Okay.
And then this one area, they'll harvest.
Okay.
They won't touch that again for another 30 years.
Okay.
Because the idea then is they'll go to the next slice, and the next slice, and the next slice. And then that
And would this be
area-
like a section of land, like a mile by a mile? Or?
Exactly.
Okay.
However big that they determine is
Okay.
what can be used.
Okay.
And there's so many variables, it's not a set rule.
Hmm.
But now the reason why we bring this up is because poaching has been going on.
Poaching.
Poaching. And this is where we were talking about, like, what is poaching?
It's the damnedest thing. I never would have thought there was such a thing as tree poaching. But
Until I got into this industry, I didn't think so either. The first time I heard it, I actually said, I didn't know there was actually elephants in the woods.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
Yeah.
There's poaching on animals, but there's also poaching on trees. And the reason why is because all the rules we put in place to protect the trees, people don't always follow them.
Yeah.
And so you see oftentimes, my friend Alan says, a guy's out in the woods with his Toyota pickup truck and a generator in the middle of the night,
So
running chainsaw.
I'm gonna draw a picture. So Dan showed me a picture of this, and I didn't believe it. He showed me a picture of an old growth tree,
And it's big. I mean, we're talking probably about 15, 20 feet across.
and they took a section out of it like that,
Uh-huh.
and this went into the pickup truck,
Yep. And then,
and then
he went off,
and then that was that.
and that was it.
Now what are they looking for when they do that? They need a bunch of 2x4s for their house?
Well, ideally, they're looking for some of the higher grade stuff. The
Okay.
quilt, the flame, the burl. They want some type of exotic wood that they
Okay.
can get
They
a
can
large
get
amount
bank
for.
for, okay.
Yeah, because it's the biggest bang for the buck. And that
Yeah.
pickup truck they just full, they might be able to get 10, 20 grand.
It's kind of like cutting the freaking tusks off an elevator.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
just let the rest of the because now the tree is exposed.
Yeah.
Now that tree is getting infected. Now the animals are growing into it.
There's
Now,
no way to bounce back from this.
No.
big-
trees
Yeah.
trees don't they don't repair themselves.
Okay.
They just can't. So what they do is they grow around themselves. But in a
This is
space
not
that big-
pruning.
No,
This
No.
is
not
poaching.
pruning. This
Yeah.
is poaching, and it's a pretty serious thing, and
Yeah.
it's been going on now for decades, but it's something that just recently has really been getting a lot more airtime in the media,
Okay.
which is good because we really need to talk about it more. And if you are a person who is buying wood,
Mm-hmm.
and if you are a person like yourself who is building an instrument that you're going to be selling to other people, it's something that you have to make a conscious decision of. Do I want to
Now,
just buy the wood
I-
and say I made it? or
I
is
have
this gonna
something
stay?
very it's very controversial. I'm about to ask. I just came up with this.
So I might not answer.
You might not want to answer.
You know what? You might have to use the safe word.
Yeah. So we talked about companies that got into trouble because they bought lumber that they weren't supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
Rosewood specifically is usually that lumber. Right?
Yeah.
What about companies that are very well known for using quilt and flame top? Is there any way to guarantee that they get lumber that's not? I mean, is there like what's the? You know what I mean? Is there?
Like, how do you know?
How do you know? So
How do you know?
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that God, I don't want to say any guitar.
And
Let's
we
say you
won't.
had a.
We won't say guitar
We
names.
won't say a guitar brand name.
Let's just make up one. How about brand X?
How about brand PRX?
Okay, go ahead.
And let's say
Subtle.
Let's say that they're well known for flame and quilt top.
Yeah.
How do you know that you didn't buy a? How do they know they didn't buy a poached chunk of quilt or flame maple? Or do they care?
They care.
Okay.
I can't tell you how much those companies care.
Okay.
In fact, that's one of the first things that we deal with. Now, I myself, being part of the retail division, I don't actually have to deal
Yeah.
too much with this. I deal more with the one-on-one. But when it comes to the larger companies, they've made it such a big thing because they do not want to get caught
Okay.
doing this. And so for them, they maybe can get a great deal on the wood, but it's not worth the risk.
And the reason I ask is because I get questions all the time. Hey, how come, P90X guitars can get such awesome whatever wood and I can't?
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know. So okay.
It's a
so
hard
that,
way
so
to answer.
so in as far as you know, and you
Have
know
dealt
these
with
guys,
and, yeah, worked with them.
they don't buy that stuff. They
No,
don't.
in fact,
Okay.
if they even get the hint
Okay.
that this stuff might not be 100% above board,
Yeah.
they're running the other way. It's such a big risk for them because
Okay.
they don't want to take the risk from the people, because they don't want to lose
Yeah.
sales. They don't want to get hit from the government. They don't want to get hit with legal fees and any type of issues. They don't want to have their wood taken away. They
Yeah.
can shut them down.
Damage
So-
their reputation.
Exactly.
Okay.
All these things
That's
are such
good
a big
then.
risk. So they've done a wonderful job. In fact, almost all of the major things that I've seen in the industry as far as changes go has actually been instigated from them.
Oh,
'Cause
cool.
They're the ones saying, I need to see the paperwork. And we're like, we can get you the paperwork. They're
And
like,
there's special
"Thank
stamps
you."
on the wood.
There's special
Yeah.
stamps on the wood.
Oh, like you told the okay. All right. So that's one of the ways that they
Oh,
can.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
And we have to show this is the paperwork we have to show is, okay, this is the country of origin. This is who cut it.
Okay.
This is where it came into the country at. This is if it was kiln dried, if it was treated, if it was fumigated.
Mm-hmm.
We have to show all of those things. Then we have to have it inspected by the different types of government agencies checking for nematodes or any type of insect parasite before it goes in and out of the
Wow.
country.
Okay.
There's so many parts of this that they really care about because they just don't want to take the risk. And as long as a consumer,
Yeah.
we bring this up to them, they will keep caring.
So that kind of leads us into another question, though, which is from Don.
Uh-huh.
One of the things he wants to know is he'd like to hear you comment on the state of figured maple. Is it getting harder to get? In the last 5 years, I've watched the price go through the roof while the quality declines. Today's 5A by some suppliers would have been a 3A in 2013 or so. What's the deal with that?
Well, that's really like two questions in my mind because part of it is him asking about grades, which
yeah.
is something we should kind of talk about. But sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
It was just ruining the composition of the frame. Yeah.
We couldn't read your shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So
What's that
maple
reason?
and the fancy maple.
But the maple, yeah, so the supply of maple is still there.
Okay.
However, as the demand goes for it, the prices go up. As the prices go up, people normally can't buy the grade they were used to at those prices. And so
Okay.
you can get top grade 5, 6, or if you talk to some companies, 8 or 10 A.
Sure.
Great.
There's
Whatever
no
they wanna-
mil spec for grading, right? There's-
Well, not really. It's
Okay.
very subjective.
Okay.
You know,
So before we go any further, I want to know what are the things that are universally recognized as grades for let's use maple because everybody wants to know about maple.
Perfect.
So what is 1A maple or 2A?
So,
maple?
you mind?
Nope.
Okay, so I'll use green
Ah, okay.
because I'm not doing trees, so it makes sense that
Yeah.
I use green.
Okay.
So you know, I have 1A on this side over here, and then it goes up to however many A's you want to have. I'll say 6A over here.
Okay.
Okay, and you have all these different grades in between. 1A is known as structural. It's
Okay.
just wood. It's not going to have any type of figure to it. The color might be uneven. It's not the best top quality by any means.
Okay.
But it does
But
the
it's maple,
job.
by God, and
It's 100% maple.
Okay.
And if you want a maple guitar, that's perfect for you. It's
Okay.
also great for entry level. It's great for schools. It's great for people who are learning and they don't want to spend a fortune.
Okay. So what would that look like? I mean, that's just going to have
Like a
rings
block of
and
wood.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
just nothing flashy at all.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of like when poplar is graded the same as the prettier woods, but it's not select for appearance.
Exactly.
So that's why it
It's
doesn't
not the
cost so much.
same.
Okay.
Right. And then like as you increase in the grades, what you're really doing is increasing in the quality of what particular thing you're grading it on.
Okay.
So for instance, if it's on the quality of the flame or the quilt, you're going for the depth of the figure. You're going for how much of a figure it is. Like how often does it have? Like fiddleback is
Okay.
going to be different. It's going to be really tight.
Well, what was the thing you were talking about where like one has the consistent color and this one is totally clear?
That's ash.
Okay, so that's
It's-
the way
that's
that
the
ash
thing.
is.
It changes.
Oh.
Like you won't see 4A ash because
Okay.
there isn't really a lot of figure in ash, so they never graded above that.
Okay.
So I normally
Although we did get a chunk of quilted ash the other
Very
day,
rarely.
which was really kooky.
say very rare.
It's so weird that I've not seen it since, and I don't know where to get more. And people look at it and go,
Ash.
"Wow, what's that? That's really rad maple." I'm like, "Yeah, it's super rad.
Yeah.
So rad that it's not even maple."
No, see, ash doesn't grow like that normally.
Okay.
So all the like you can have flame poplar,
Okay.
you can have flame, you can, but you're not going to
No.
see a lot of it.
I was laughing at something else. I'm sorry.
So what? Okay, so let me now I'm getting in the weeds now. What makes
No, we
flame
don't. They don't have flames. In the weeds.
occur?
That's an interesting question, and people have been trying to.
I'm an
figure that one
interesting
out
guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but no, it's true though, because no one really knows the exact answer.
Oh wait, you were talking about the
But-
bark beaters in there who are like, "Oh, I know, I can tell already
They
that that's
can
got a."
see it has that. They can see the.
Oh, but
flame.
they don't know how.
But the
it's-
question is why it grows like that is actually a whole bunch of different answers.
Okay.
The problem is, remember the tree can't repair itself?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if the tree can't repair itself, it's going to grow over itself.
Okay.
But every time it grows over itself, it gets a new ring. And
Okay.
if it's been damaged when it was younger, or it has some type of other issue that got it impacted, it would grow around it, and then
Okay.
all of a sudden, that's where the flame in the quilt could
So
come.
like if the tree has a
So it's almost like burl. Like,
Yes.
well,
yeah.
but burl's an actual cancer, is it not?
Well,
Well,
Like it's that
it's
this
still-
thing that grows on the.
Well, it's still wood. It's just it doesn't.
it's just growing over and over,
Oh,
but just in
okay.
a different way.
exactly.
So if the tree like kind of cracks and breaks, then,
Uh-huh.
is that what makes flame?
no, that's wind shake.
Okay.
Something different.
Okay.
I believe me. We could spend days.
And
Here
for
we
cra-
are,
talking
Dan.
about all
And
this.
for cracks where water's gonna get into it, it's just gonna rot and
Okay.
turn to dust.
So what
Yeah.
makes it get flame? We don't know.
Again, there's so many different ways. I mean,
Okay.
most of the time, what I've seen is it's in the lower part of the tree.
Okay.
However, it's not always like that. So I'm thinking it's probably something that happened when it was young, and it's had decades to try to fix itself.
Okay.
And those decades have shown that new type of.
What
growth.
about
Kind
quilt?
of like
What?
a scar from my
You should be on
vaccination.
this side.
Yeah.
From my vaccination scar
Okay.
that
We
should
makes
get
me
Mrs.
look
Toast
old.
over
We should
Yeah.
get Mrs. Toast. Only she's never.
You know what? I was on camera not that long ago
Ah.
and nobody noticed.
So what about quilt? What causes that?
Same thing.
Same thing no one knows?
But yes, exactly.
Okay.
Same thing. No one knows the exact reason or how. Because if we did, we would be making.
We'd
all
be
the trees.
making trees,
We would
okay.
be going out there doing the same thing. On
All right, here's
every
a
single
softball.
tree.
What about bird's eye? Do we know what that is?
Yes,
What's that?
aborted limbs.
Okay, what does that mean?
So the tree wants to grow a lot of branches. And those
Okay.
branches are how it gets its energy. because it doesn't get energy from just being there. It
Okay.
does photosynthesis, with my son in the 11th grade just learned about. Hi, William. So there
There's
you
the
are.
shout out. He's
There's
been
the
asking for a shout out.
Oh,
Has he
has
really?
William?
Quite a while. Yes,
Why didn't you
he's
say
here.
something?
Yeah, that should have been,
I've been waiting for the break.
oh, okay.
And-
Welcome
Matt-
to my
Matt
world.
doesn't
Exactly.
take
Yes.
breaks.
Exactly. Yeah. and I
Matt
was like,
doesn't take
Look,
breaks.
I even made it. I even
Your
made
son
a note.
would like a shout out. Okay,
Yes.
that's.
Yeah.
Hi,
We
William.
should, let's give him a
Yes.
shout out then.
Well, I think
so.
it's better that it happened organically.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because you had
thought
no
of it.
idea.
You
That's
thought
right.
of
So
it.
how old is William?
He's 11.
11, right on. Getting big.
Also, talk louder
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there we are.
So-
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it all the
keep
time.
up- You gotta keep up with Matt.
Well, we don't
Yeah.
have a
It's
sophisticated
hard.
microphone.
It is
Yeah,
hard.
it
yeah,
is
hard.
Yeah.
I walked into, I was like, "Hi, Matt." Hi.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Ow.
There we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll yell
It's
until
like
you
swallowed
can't
a
hear.
megaphone.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing, though. I like it. Good energy. Okay.
Okay, so bird's eyes.
Bird's
what
eye.
are bird's eyes?
So
And photosynthesis.
yes, the photosynthesis is going on because the tree wants to use the leaves to make energy.
Okay.
So it needs branches because it doesn't grow the leaves on the trunk. So it starts
Okay.
growing off these little branches.
And these are when it's a youngster?
Youngster.
Because it doesn't
older,
need this crap when it gets big, yeah?
It
It
keeps
kind of
making them.
continuously
It does.
happens.
Okay.
It continually happens.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is as the tree grows these branches, then it starts growing the little, leaves, and we're all happy. But it doesn't really know. It just hopes.
Does
And
everybody
so-
know what bird's eye is, Chris? Has anyone said, hey, what's bird's
I
eye?
think everyone knows
Yeah,
that.
everybody's asking, what is bird's eye? Tell
Okay.
us the difference between bird's eye and quilt and flame, real quick, if you can.
Does somebody really want to know? That's cool.
No,
Sure,
I'd
why
like to
not?
know.
Okay.
So bird's eyes, can we maybe get a little closer to the camera? There you go. So do you see how they all have those little tiny dots? Those are known as bird's eyes. And what they really are is the tree is trying to make a new little branch. But it doesn't always get just the sunlight right, the water's not right, something's not right, so it just scraps it and it says, okay, that was a good try.
Okay.
Try again.
Darwinism.
Try again. Try again.
Okay.
Try again. And it knows that it's going to get there somehow. So it just keeps making as many as it can. And as they are made, the ones that don't make it get grown over. And then grown over. And then grown over. So every year it's making more of these and it stops. And
Okay.
every year it keeps making more and more of them. Maple is one of the trees that just makes a lot of them.
Okay.
So that's like in certain areas of the country, you can get a lot of bird's eye out of the maple. In other parts of the country, there's none.
Okay.
Because
all right.
it's really, there's so many different factors that go into
I
it.
think bird's eye is cool. And these fretboards that you sent us, these are student fretboards.
Yeah, they look gorgeous,
This is
don't they?
these are really great, and these are like 3/8 by 18 or something. Oh, there's only a tape measure.
We had a tape measure.
So this is the standard
There you go.
fretboard length or size. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Not
3/8,
bad.
and
About
then what?
3/8. About 3 by 18, I think.
Yeah,
21.
21.
21.
Seems about right.
So
okay.
you would say that's 36 inches?
Yeah, this is a 42-inch
Uh-huh.
board here.
Yeah.
4 by 8,
It
yeah.
probably
Yeah.
weighs at least 50 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Which is why you're doing the bodybuilding class.
Uh-huh.
Or do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the
Okay.
body build. Well, but first, so this is a hunk of maple that's got some flame in
Yeah.
it.
this
Not a
is-
lot.
No, this is a low-grade flame.
So what would you call that? Like a 1A? That's just basically regular hunk of maple that
I'd say 1A.
it just happens to have
Yeah.
a little bit
so
of pink.
structurally, it's perfectly fine. It's
Okay.
a good piece of wood. You can use it for making, yes,
Project.
you can use it for your products. This is a perfect piece of wood. The problem is it doesn't have the bounce to it. It doesn't have the figure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so it's funny too. Like, you know what's weird? Like when you buy a billet, sometimes it'll be like crazy flame on one side, and then like an inch and a quarter on the other side. Wah wah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And it dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how come when you're dealing with the wood, like on this side, the face side,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a 3A, a 4A, a 5A, and then within just a couple inches, it's
Yeah.
gone.
It's a B.
Right, and that's
Okay.
how come you just don't know. Like when we're chopping the wood,
Okay.
it's hard to grade.
I'm gonna face the camera in the hopes that people can hear Dan more. So that way, we'll
Shouldn't
look.
I face the camera?
Yeah,
Yes,
don't
yeah.
worry though.
You're
But
like,
if,
I'm gonna face the camera so people can hear me speak more loudly.
Well, it's kind of the both.
anyway,
Kind
so
of, okay.
okay, so we've talked about flame. What is quilt then? I mean, we all know what it looks like, but what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a guitar around here with some quilt on it?
We don't.
Not handy, no. There's finished guitars that are secret.
I don't think we have any
No?
quilt laying around at all.
Well, I would say it's like my vaccination scar because I'm old and I had the old,
So
It's almost
polio
like
thing.
flame, but
And it's like
2D,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
it's like if you look, imagine if you're looking at water.
Yeah.
And the water is rippling with a whole bunch of different little waves. And then for one split second, you freeze it.
Yep.
That's what quilt looks like to me. It's like a whole bunch of ups and downs.
Undulating.
Yeah, that's a hard word.
I know.
I couldn't spell it.
Don't ask me to spell.
No, but it sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the quilt, that's another one. Then you hear stuff like fiddleback,
Mm-hmm.
and fiddleback is a whole bunch of flames just really tight.
Okay.
And then hi.
Hey, all right.
Ah, it's like up close and personal.
Uh-huh.
isn't it?
We're trying to get it so that people can hear you, Dan.
I'm
because
sorry.
People are here to hear you. They already know what I sound like, and they're gonna hear me no matter what.
That's true. That's
So-
true. You could go outside and you'd still hear. When you were up on the roof today,
Yeah.
we heard you fine.
Okay. You were just ignoring me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was only so much we could hear. Like, hello.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Up his butt.
He hasn't fallen off yet.
No. Well, yeah. You'll hear that too.
That's right. So when it comes to like the quilt, I kind of picture it like that. But fiddleback is like a whole bunch of flames
Okay.
really tight together. Angel step, rotini.
These are I've not heard of these.
What are some other ones?
Cannoli.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. I've just made
Rigatoni.
that one up.
That
Yeah,
one. No,
yeah.
I've heard of that one.
angel
actually.
hair pasta.
People come up with weird ones, and then they
Lasagna.
change too,
Mm-hmm.
like depending what part of the country you're from. Like bear claw, people love bear claw, where it's like it's got, especially in like Sitka spruce, and it almost has those rippling
Oh,
flames in
I
it.
have seen those. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
But if you go to China, they're called chicken scratch. It's the exact same wood. It's the exact same thing.
So if we go
they
from
call it
bears
different.
to chickens,
yeah.
Right.
Maybe
Well-
they don't have a lot of bears in China.
very different animals.
I don't know. Do they?
I don't know. They have
They have
pandas.
panda bears.
Yeah.
Is that quilt?
That is
No.
some quilt,
Yeah,
actually.
it's not
it's
very
a-
nice quilt.
It's like 3A, 2A, 2A.
That's just a fabric top.
No, that's it. So it's more of a it's a quilt, but it's a
with no
okay.
no,
batting.
that is a little bit of quilt on that
I
one. I
gotcha.
forgot
Cool.
about that one. So okay, so we talked about those things.
Mm-hmm.
We talked. So is it going to be easier or harder to get figured maple coming up?
It's still available, but it'll just get harder.
Okay.
As people use more and more of it for different applications. And the other nice thing is with the industry right now, it's not just about guitars, but wood as a whole has kind of fallen back into popularity. Where before, it kind of, take a little side note, people really got into plastics.
Okay.
Everything was plastic, and it was
Yeah.
great, except people realized maybe this isn't the best thing for either us or the environment.
Yeah.
So now they're moving away from plastics. I'm seeing a lot more people go back into wood.
I'm
which-
hoping pretty soon that the resin and stuff in resin guitars will be done soon because I'm kind
like the
of over
ramen
that.
noodles.
Like the
Yeah,
ramen
it's,
noodles.
it's
Yeah.
cool and it's neat that those guys are doing that, but I'm kind of done with that shit. so.
It's fun.
It was fun at first.
Yeah, yeah.
And now it just bugs me.
I have people asking me if we have resin bodies.
we
Like we're producing resin
Oh, okay.
bodies for people.
Well,
like
they grow
blanks.
from trees.
I want
right?
mine with gumballs in it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of a line that Susie's stepmom said in Valley Girl
What's that?
to Skip, the delivery boy. Skip, here's a tip. Plastics.
Oh.
That was it.
Yeah. That's true back then.
I'm kind of surprised Mrs. Toast is still on that side of the camera.
But she's getting closer to
She's
this
getting,
side of the
she's
camera.
inching forward. Everybody
I was on camera
who wants to see
several
Mrs.
minutes ago.
Toast, you never know.
It's really going to be disappointing when you do. So,
So,
I'll laugh as long as I can.
So we talked about harvest options,
Uh-huh.
right? We talked
Yes.
about clear cutting and
Select
select
harvest.
We talked a little bit about how that's done.
Uh-huh.
Where does a lot of the guitar wood that we buy come from?
That's a very good question.
Okay.
That depends. What guitar wood are we talking about? If it's the swamp ash, it's mostly from Louisiana and
Okay.
southern states.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit more about swamp ash? We've had some questions about swamp ash.
Uh-huh.
Tell some of the stories that we talked about earlier about swamp ash versus northern.
Oh, northern ash. Sure.
So the cool thing to me is so this is a 3-piece body that we built
Uh-huh.
from a blank that you sent us, and it is it's swamp ash and it's pretty light. This is probably like 4 pounds in that neighborhood, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yes.
is what they basically are, and
Not bad.
it's pretty decent. But if we were to make this out of northern hard ash, it would be 10 pounds.
Yeah.
If it was a pound.
When you're talking about wood, wood isn't always the same. And
Yeah.
that's the part that everyone kind of gets thrown for a loop on.
Yeah, it's not a
especially-
homogeneous project.
No. So when you have like swamp ash, for instance, we go off of density. Density is the biggest thing we can talk about when it comes to the wood bodies.
Okay.
Because everyone's caring about weight. I want it to be as light as possible.
Yeah.
Or I want it to be as strong as possible. But really they're talking about how dense the wood is. So when you have a piece of wood and let's say it's 2 board feet is going to be your end body.
Okay.
That's how much area it's going to take up. And it's 2 pounds per board foot. This body would weigh, if I know my math right, 4 pounds.
Okay.
Now, northern ash might not be 2 pounds per board foot. In fact, 2 pounds per board foot is insanely light.
Okay.
It could be 4 pounds per board foot.
Okay.
So the same body could now weigh 8 pounds.
Yeah.
It's the same species. So when you're looking at wood and you just go off of species, there's that range of density, and that's going to have a big impact on the weight of the guitar and also the knock quality, like when you hit it.
Let's do one of those real fast.
Oh, sure, this is fun. We
so,
got a hammer.
Yeah, so we got a hammer, and we've got 2 blanks that you sent us.
Yes.
So when you get your body blanks from Dan at Guitar Wood Experts, and you enter Texas Toast 15 at checkout and get 15% off, this is something that you could potentially get, right? This is a Eco Harvest blank.
Yep.
Or is it Harvest?
Eco recovery.
Eco Recovery.
Eco recovery.
All
Which
right,
is
so-
what we call the 3 and 4 piece.
Okay.
Yes.
So how much does this guy weigh? How do you
Oh.
know how much it weighs?
So Calvin, as wonderful as he is always, is in the back room continually weighing and grading our bodies. And so you're going to get a number like this, and that's 2.48. And that's 2.48 pounds per board foot. So that way you know exactly how much it weighs.
Okay, so then this guy here is,
2.21 pounds per board foot.
so this is a little lighter
This
than
is
that.
very light. These
Okay.
are both very light bodies.
Because you said two is super light.
2 is super light.
Okay.
3 would be heavy.
Okay.
3 would be heavy.
So these are different,
These
same
are-
same species,
Same species.
same 4-piece bodies.
Actually the same mill. Meaning this is the same lumber. It came out of the same tree.
Okay, how do you know? Because you just do?
Yeah, we
Okay,
got the
all
load
right,
in. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So different densities. And what is that gonna sound like? And we did this earlier today when you were here. So
So see if we can
so
hear the
so
difference.
which one is this? This is the
2.48.
okay,
Okay.
and this is the 2.21. So there's
Hear
a
the-
definite difference.
Yeah.
We were getting more. Hey man, you did.
I dinged your top.
That's cool. These are also very thick.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to have to make up your mind on what you want your boards to do when you bang on with a hammer, what sounds you're looking for. But if people call you and go, "Hey man, I'm looking for a 2.2 or
Uh-huh.
2 or 2.3 or
Whatever they want.
can you help them with that?"
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
We actually divide it up both by weight and by grade. So we have
Okay.
the heavy wood.
See, I didn't even know that because here's what happens when I call Dan. I'm like, "Hey Dan, I need a bunch of bodies," and you're like, "Okay," and then I get them.
Well, I know what you want.
Yeah, I
It's
don't.
a little
yeah,
easier. But yeah, when it's coming, you're not buying directly from me, and you're going on the internet.
Yeah.
There you are, and you're like, hey, I need to buy, but how do I buy?
But you remember that time you guys? So this happened. Someone was like, "Hey, I tried to look on their website and I can't get on," and I called you, and you're like, "Just give them my personal number."
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of service that you guys do, and you don't get that from anybody
Well,
else.
that and our website was down. I didn't have a choice.
well,
No,
but
normally
it's
I would.
still
I'm
it's
just
cool
kidding.
though
I'm
to be
kidding.
able
I
to
would
go.
definitely
You
do
know,
that.
yeah.
A lot of people have my personal number. Yeah.
So someone asked about the density is something to do with the length. So I'm thinking maybe you might want to talk a little about early wood,
It
late wood.
does, actually.
And-
It does have a lot to do with the length. So when you're,
scooch these.
yeah, we're going to have to draw on the board again.
Okay.
I love boards.
It's a good thing we have the board.
They're very visual.
That's
They-
why you work in wood, because
And do
you
you know-
love boards.
Hey.
Yeah.
5. That's a good one. Okay, so when you have a board and it comes from a tree, most boards come from
Hence
trees.
yeah.
Okay, have my little tree here. Okay, the bottom part of the wood.
That's a tree?
No, it totally looks like something off of the
Yeah.
Little Mermaid.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You gotta take it off right now. I just saw it. You're right. It did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have your tree.
Right?
Now it's a
Yes.
French tickler. Okay,
You
but that's
know,
okay.
Yeah,
Now we're back to
everything
this.
can look like something.
Let's put some ornaments on it, though. Let's
Yeah,
put a
it's a Christmas
star
tree.
on the top and, you know.
So when
Some
you get the boards
dingleberries.
and you actually cut them, perfect, and you slice it all up, the boards come in one long slice. One side of the board will be near the bottom. That's actually the lighter wood.
Okay.
The other side of the board will be near the top. That's the heavier wood. So when you get a board, half of them are going to be lighter than the average, and the other half will be heavier than
Okay.
the average of that board. So when we slice them up into bodies, we can get a much more defined look or idea of what that piece of wood
Okay.
actually weighs. But the bigger the board, the less accurate we are, because you just can't help but have one half heavy, one half
Okay.
light.
If someone calls you and is willing to pay through the nose
Uh-huh.
for the lightest piece, can you get them all stuff from down
Oh
here?
yeah,
Okay.
that's not a problem. So we have it in 5 different grades. So the first one we have is the KR. Those are the kinetic responsive bodies.
Whoa!
Like that? So what we figured out is that the heavier bodies,
Uh-huh.
although they're heavier, actually are stronger, and they transmit the sound faster and better.
Okay.
So if you're trying to get something that really gets a high pitch, really cuts through the mix, this is a good start.
Okay.
But because it's heavier, we're not going to charge as much for it. So these are really a good ones for people to buy if you're doing like large production runs.
Okay.
Again, they just want to practice on some stuff, burn through some
Okay.
wood and try it out. But it also lets people have denser material on the wood, so you can really chamber it or even over chamber it. So it's
Oh, okay.
stronger.
All right.
Because as the wood gets lighter, it also gets weaker.
Yeah.
So then the next step you have is your 1A, and then your 2A, and then your 3A grades. And then after that, then we go to the lights and the ultralights. And so we'll have everything from 3 pounds plus down to less than 2 pounds.
Okay.
So you can actually pick which one of those you want to pay for.
Okay.
So you don't have to question, because a lot of people always call
What
me up.
costs more? The ultralights
light.
cost the most? Okay.
It's the most rare. So out of the whole load of wood, about 70% of it's going to fall under this area.
Okay.
Most of it after that is going to be heavy, and then 10% or less of that load will be here.
Okay.
And of that 10%, it's even smaller that's going to be less than 2 pounds.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's really rare. When you get something like 1.8,
Yeah.
1.7,
That's a super, super duper
yeah,
light one.
it's
Okay.
it's almost so light, you have to kind of be careful. You have to rethink your build.
So Don actually had another question about costs.
Uh-huh.
And he said, I would love to be a GWE customer. By the way, did you know that I think I just started calling you guys GWE
Uh-huh.
because I like to acronym everything.
I noticed.
He's been calling you Dan the Woodman forever, though.
Yeah.
You can keep doing
Yeah.
that. I get that a lot.
But is GWE something you guys call yourselves too?
Totally.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I didn't think I came up with
No,
it, but
no.
yeah.
Well, actually, the only reason I started doing that
Yeah.
was because I got tired of writing guitar,
Yeah.
wood, experts. And the first thing I did is I went to go figure out if I could shorten the name.
Okay.
So I was like, is there a way I can possibly get this name a little bit shorter?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, GWE.
Yeah.
Mostly because I just went to KFC, which back in the day when I was little was called Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But
No one
now
wants to
it's-
have fried in the name anymore.
No, now it's just KFC. So I figured,
Yeah.
well, if they did it and they're pretty
Yeah.
successful, I guess it's okay.
Sometimes I put TTG on stuff, but
You know,
anyway.
Dunkin' Donuts now isn't called Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It's Dunkin'.
Huh? I don't think they
Yeah,
have very many
because-
donuts anymore.
Yeah, they
Well,
do
it's like
so much more
Domino's
than donuts,
Pizza.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
still
I've
Dunkin'
been
Donuts
calling
in
you
New Jersey.
DTF.
It's still DTF in New Jersey too. Yeah.
Okay.
So we did get Dan more beer. So Don wants to know.
I don't think we do.
I would love to be a GWE customer,
Yes.
but I'm on the exact opposite side of the country, and shipping is always a deal killer. $26 for a body blank. Now, Don, as you know, Dan has no control over what UPS or whatever charges for shipping. Does he have any suggestions on how to make it economical? Like buying a big ass box or pallet and sending it freight. Well, first of all, Don, we can save you 15% right off the top.
That's good.
So that's a cool thing. But tell us about shipping and how that
Shipping
works.
has always been an
It's a
issue.
killer, right?
It is. And you know, we're a little bit different because a lot of places what they do is they'll charge more for the body blank, and then they'll just down the shipping because
Yeah.
people have a hard time paying shipping, especially like on the bodies, because some of my guitar bodies are cheap.
Yeah.
Like you can buy I had some specials where you could actually get some ash bodies, I think for like $20, $30
Okay.
a while ago.
They would be the eco recovery style ones, or are
Yes.
these just like
no, they were
super
the eco
deals?
recovery.
Okay.
And they were really good. They were well priced, but the shipping was more than the body.
Okay.
And it killed me because I'd have people call me up and they're like, "Dude, why is that?" And I'm like, "Because that's how much they're charging.
Yeah,
I can't change that. I wish I could." Now he is right. If you go freight, you go lower, but it's not one body you can go.
You gotta
No.
buy a big.
LTLs don't go that less than.
No, like
Yeah.
I just shipped about 400 pounds from Oregon to Miami,
Okay.
and that's going to be about $300.
Okay. But
So-
that's 400 pounds of lumber.
400 pounds of lumber. So if you're looking to buy a lot of wood, we can definitely get that price per body down.
Was it swamp ash, by the way?
Because
Wouldn't it be something to go from Louisiana to Oregon back to Florida?
It
and,
does that.
Yeah.
That happens quite often. And sometimes I think to myself, God, we take this wood on a trip.
Yeah.
You know, first it goes from the forest and it's having its whole life there. Then it's riding around on trucks
Yeah.
and it's in mills
Uh-huh.
and now it's in some guy's garage.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of places.
Sounds like concentration camp.
It does sort of sound like like we're being a little mean.
But
to
it's
it.
because we're nice to it and we want to let it see the world.
That's right.
So here's the thing about inflating the price of the product and then trimming down the shipping.
Uh-huh.
Shipping is a service, so you're not charging sales tax on it, but you're charging sales tax on the inflated price
Well,
of the product.
I don't
so
get
it
into that.
actually,
I don't have
no,
sales
I'm not
tax.
saying you do.
Yeah.
But you're saying some people do that to make the shipping seem better, but
it
you're
does.
actually paying more because
Yeah.
you're paying more sales tax on
Yeah.
the sale price.
So one of the questions: how do you ship? So do you use UPS?
We use UPS,
Okay.
we use USPS.
Okay.
And then as far as the freight lines goes, you know, it's all the ones that are available.
Yeah.
But I'll look up different options.
Could you do like a ride share
Sure.
Uber to someone's house?
I've been looking at some new
Okay.
ones. There's always new companies contacting me.
Sure.
And they're like, hey, will this work? And you know, I talk to them like, well, I want to ship this, and normally the answer is, oh, we don't ship that. Well, then thanks for calling me.
Thanks a chunk.
and then who's
Yeah.
got something to fill in a lane that they have? Like ABF goes to this place all the time, but
Yeah.
the Swift goes over here, and so this guy's want to put anything else on their truck go in that direction because
if
they're
you can
going in there
come-
anyway.
If you get a chance to come to the shop, come to the shop. You don't get charged shipping.
Chris and I would actually wanted to come and just hang out with you guys at
Oh, we'd
GWE
love
for a
that.
while. That would be awesome.
We would love that to
Okay,
happen.
cool.
And we actually let people come to the shop and they can come in and they can pick
What?
their own pieces of wood out. Because that's something we found out.
Let
that
me ask
a lot
you
of
this.
places don't let you do anymore.
Let's say I lived in Argentina, and I had trouble finding alder.
Did you know Rivera?
No, you told me. I'm leading it. Yeah.
I was just like, what? You know Rivera too?
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he came all the way from Argentina.
Yeah.
So he flew into Los Angeles,
Okay.
went to the NAMM show, rented a car, drove 1,000 miles up north to me, and we took him out for like 2 days, and
Mm-hmm.
he picked out all this wood, and he just, got a whole shipment together, and then he went back down because he misses his family, obviously.
Sure.
And but he made the trip, and
So
it's
the-
worthwhile for him.
The funny thing is, like, we can get alder. It's not always the most exciting alder that you want to
Yeah.
get, but getting alder in Colorado is not that tricky.
No.
But I guess some places it's like, well, tough shit if you want alder
Yeah.
because we
Every-
don't got it.
Every part of the world's different. You know, every part of the world
Yeah.
they've got a surplus of some stuff and a deficiency of another.
Yeah.
And you know, the whole idea is to move the stuff from one to the other so you can make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have found that it's a good idea to do a little time, to travel a bit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, pick the wood out that they want, and they'll actually come up with, you know, they'll come to the shop and they'll say, okay, I'm putting all this stuff in my stack.
Yeah.
And they'll put their stack together and they'll spend a day with us, and then they'll go back to wherever they live, and then the wood will follow them about a week later.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Unless they want to rent the car and drive it, that's cool. too.
To Argentina.
Maybe they can get one of those jobs where some guy has a car that he wants to be driven from
Exactly,
his place over
yes.
here, and
Yeah.
I'll buy your plane ticket one way, and then you
There you
drive my
go.
car back, and then you can put your wood in the car and get paid to drive it home.
See, she should start a shipping company.
I know.
I'm full of
Mrs.
things.
Toast Shipping.
Mrs. Toast.
Mrs.
shipping.
Toast, everything you fucking want to know and how to do it right. That's
Yeah.
what it should be.
Yeah, you ass wipes. All right, none of you assholes is getting wood this week. So we've got
let us swim, right?
we've got a bunch of Patreon questions we need to get to.
Yeah.
Are there any questions coming in that we
There
are?
are
Oh,
questions.
yeah.
I have a solid
A summary of
list
several
of
Okay.
questions.
that-
Yes.
All right, so let's burn through a bunch of these.
Sure, go.
Tom Collab wants to know, in your opinion, what would be the best, durable, smoothest, editable wood to use for a fretboard?
don't eat the wood.
Yeah.
Let's just start with that one.
Yeah.
Don't eat the wood.
I don't think
It's
editable.
organic.
Yeah.
It is, but some woods are poisonous.
What's your favorite fretboard wood?
Uh,
Ready? Go. Wrong. The best fretboard wood is
We just had this conversation.
that's a toughie because it's really dependent on everything else in the guitar.
Okay.
I just don't think about the fretboard, especially when it's covered in inlays and then you got the strings over it. It's not something that's visually striking to me, especially as a player.
Tom, the best
that I
wood to
have
use
around.
for a fretboard is black poison wood. That's my favorite fretboard.
If the wood does the job it needs to do,
Yep.
then it's the best wood for the job.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a hardwood, it's got to be sturdy, it's got to be strong. So maple is fine. I wouldn't go softer than maple.
The downside to maple though is you got to put a finish on it, or it turns to gets pooty cover.
That's the thing. There's a good and a downside to everything.
Yeah.
Oh, there was Chris. I think he was in the camera for a second.
Oh, Chris is okay to be on the camera.
Oh, okay.
So in your opinion, what would be the best wood for a fretboard?
I like Cataloche.
Okay.
I do. This is my
Okay,
favorite.
that's a cool wood too. That can be really chocolatey.
Yeah, but now it's not my favorite to say. My
Okay.
favorite to say is Granadillo.
Okay.
Oh,
and the-
someone said something about Granadillo
And the
earlier.
reason I love Granadillo is because it actually means the wood that sings.
I
Yeah,
did
right?
not know that.
It's a cool little thing.
Okay.
Pau Ferro, another really great wood, means stick of iron.
Stick of iron.
That's what I
Stick
call
of
Matt.
Whoa! And now we know why Matt has Mrs. Tyson.
That's right. So I like Chechen because it also goes by the name Black Poison Wood, and especially the vertical grain stuff looks cool, and it's cheap. They're practically giving it away.
That helps.
And I think that that's when you have when you're making a bunch of guitars. Leo Fender knew this. You don't always go with the most expensive stuff. You go with the stuff that works the best.
Yeah.
That also hits that price point.
Well,
and we'll use whatever.
Exactly. But when you're like manufacturing,
Yep.
manufacturing has a different mindset.
Yeah.
Because one, it has to be consistent. You can't have some of your guitars be amazing and some of them be awful. Especially of the same model run. They all need to be about the same.
Are they zooming?
Zumba class. woo.
Zumba.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so John Meehan wants to know: is olive wood a good fretboard choice? Is Yatoba Brazilian cherry a sustainable wood?
Yes.
So
To
which
both.
one is? So I don't know. I don't even know what olive wood is.
I've seen some olive wood before.
Doesn't
Okay.
it kind of look like dogwood, where it's kind of skinny and twisted? I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So you're not going to see a lot of olive wood. Like I've had
No.
people call me up and say, "Dude, can I get like olive wood enough to make a neck?" And I'm like, "I
Probably
don't
not.
have," and I don't even know where to call.
Even
to
if you
get.
tried to cut it up and glue it up,
Well,
you
because of the
still
length of
wouldn't.
the wood
yeah.
and it not twisting enough
it's-
times for it to be that
yeah.
size.
One of
It's a
my
hard
favorite
treat for
lumbers
them.
to use, and you don't get very big chunks of it, is Osage orange. Because it's neat color and it's
Yeah.
hard
and it
as
smells
hell.
good when you cut
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
We actually
So for his answer though, I would definitely say olive wood is a perfect. If you have a source of olive wood,
you have a chunk of olive wood.
then
go
I
ahead
say
and
go
use it.
for it. Now, as
And
far
what about
as-
Yatoba? So I love Yatoba. I think it's a neat wood, and I think it's pretty sustainable. Is it
It's
not?
very sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as we're smart about it.
Okay.
And this is again where we have to ask the questions: is it coming from an FSC approved? Is it something that is sustainable? You have to ask the person, well, where'd they get it from? If it's just like, oh, my buddy.
My buddy.
I hear a
had
lot about my
had
buddies.
If you live in the United States and your buddy lives down the street from you, he doesn't have a Yatoba plant.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin can get you a good deal on that redwood.
What about Yojimbe?
Don't know.
That is the wood that we made up.
Oh, good. I was gonna say, I
So
don't know what that
yeah,
is.
so it's a wood that just sort of that sounds pretty exotic though, right?
It
yeah,
does.
Yeah. Sometimes we use Yojimbe interchangeably with Yatoba.
Might
Because
well.
because why wouldn't you? Gibson does it. I mean
We love saying Gibson here because we're getting red flagged all
Yeah.
over the place.
Corey Schuerher wants to know, what's your opinion on single versus multiple piece body blanks for solid body guitar? Tone implications, stability, etc. How many pieces is too many pieces?
That's a good question. I love this question. So, let me just do this real quick.
All right.
Okay. The wonderful thing about guitars is you can kind of break them down and figure out.
Dan.
Yep. Oh, thank you. We'll just spray. Okay. So, dry it off a little bit.
Okay.
You have I'm going to just do a square body blank, okay, like I would ship. Now, if you got a one-piece body blank,
Yep.
Done.
Boom.
It's solid.
Yep.
Now you're going to put your pickup like here.
Yep.
Okay. Solid. Now what if you do a neck through?
Yeah.
How about a neck through? It would look like this.
And this would all be dead.
So
You
there's no
eliminate
difference
a bunch of
between
that.
a neck through guitar,
Yeah.
you know, as far as like the body goes,
Yep.
and a 3-piece guitar.
And everybody loves neck throughs.
Everyone loves neck throughs.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, you see a lot of people, I think you kind of go away from the 3-piece. They're like, well, I don't want a 3-piece guitar.
Yeah.
Even though if it had the neck attached to it, because you'd have that one long
We
piece.
get a bunch of questions on, because we did a video once that was, are one-piece body blanks better than everything else?
Uh-huh.
And they sure are faster.
They're a lot faster. They're easier to make. And they
But
look
but a lot of people were like, oh, that's never going to be. It's going to start twisting and warping and
Not
too
and
much. I've never seen
in
it.
my experience.
I've never seen it happen. But now to go to a 4-piece body. So let's say you have a 2-piece body. 2-piece body's easy enough, right?
Yep.
Now a 4-piece body
Yep.
is just that. The pickup doesn't know the difference.
Nope.
It's not on the wings.
Nope.
So when you're dealing with like the tonal quality of a 1-piece, a 2-piece, a 3-piece, and a 4-piece, they're still in the same range because
Yeah.
the pickup isn't 7 inches long.
Yeah.
If you had well, first of all, I don't even want to think what the fretboard would look like.
It would be one of those 80,
Yeah.
87 string jobs.
Yeah, forget that. But you know, so you'd have that. So I don't see much of a difference. Now,
Now
as far
split,
as
split that into an 8-piece or a 7-piece body.
now
And then
that's
going across that too, wouldn't that be more density, different grains, orientation?
Mrs. Toast, I want you to know something. My densities pop me to you.
You
I
mean
don't
your
know what
destiny?
My density
Brought you to
brought
me?
to you.
There you
Brought
go.
me to you.
That's
Now,
what
are
I
you
mean.
talking about?
okay. So when it comes to like the 8-piece or 7-piece or 5-piece or 64-piece,
Is it more like kind of like a plywood where the cross grains make it stronger?
a
and
little
then-
bit.
Yeah.
It can. I mean, it also depends on how it's matched. So when you're dealing with like wood,
Yeah.
and you got the little board. So you have a board right here, okay? And I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna make a 2-piece
Okay.
body out of it. So I cut it right here. Ideally, I want to have this board mate with this board.
Yep.
So there's a couple ways to get there. One is slip match. That means you move it down
Uh-huh.
and slide it over. You've slipped it. That's
Okay.
a slip match. Then there's a hinge match.
Okay.
That's where you flip
Kind
it
of
on
like a
that.
scarf joint kind of a thing?
No.
A scarf joint's a little different, but I can see where you can think that. So it's
I
not
don't know
far
what a
off.
hinge match
It's-
is.
So it's basically you have the piece of wood like this and pretend there's a hinge here and it just swings over. Like it's
Or
on a
maybe like the
hinge.
V?
It hinges right here
Like here or here.
and pivots, and then this chunk. So then this is glued to this.
so the grain.
But
Oh, yeah,
this
so
is
it's-
now
that-
here, and this is now here.
So
Yeah.
it's a typical book match.
No.
book match is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, book match is where you cut it and then you.
Well, you
Okay.
resaw it and cut it
And
instead
open
of
it
cutting
like
to
a
length.
book.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so when it comes to does that matter? Does that make an impact? It does a little bit, but not much.
We've talked about glue math a lot.
Oh,
Let's talk
Here in
about
the
Les
shop.
Paul
Let's-
glue math right now.
A 4-piece body blank from Dan has less glue than a Gibson Les Paul.
yeah. Chris was able to figure that out. He got the old.
Chris is pretty smart.
Yeah, calculator out, weighed it.
So if you imagine a 4-piece body blank from Dan from the end grain would look like this.
Yes.
Each 4 pieces, and there's a glue joint, and a glue joint. On a typical Les Paul, you'd have, let's even say you had a 1-piece bag. Well, then you're going to glue 5/8 of maple to it that has a book match top, because they all should have a book match, the ones everybody wants.
Right.
But sometimes they have another seam here, so you have a 2-piece back and a 2-piece top. And then you have all this glue surface here that runs. Look at that. See, that's what they call something. Yeah, infinite horizon.
Horizon.
So this glue joint goes all the way the length of the board. So a 4-piece body from Dan with no top has much less glue than a Les Paul. So if you don't think that glue is cool, a 4-piece eco recovery body from Dan is actually a good way to go.
But glue is strong.
Yeah, I don't take issues with glue.
No, in
Yeah.
fact, there was a couple times because we've had people contact us and go like, "Dude, is the glue joint good enough?" And so we'd go in the back and we'd get a couple boards and we'd do testing. And how we tested them is we would chuck them at rocks.
Yeah.
and we'd see if we could break them.
Yep.
We couldn't break them on the glue joint. We were actually breaking them on the grain.
We were able to, we actually, when we got that torrefied cedar from you, we were able to break it along everywhere but the glue joint.
Yeah, so the glue is actually a very, no, the issue I think a lot of people will bring up is, does the glue deaden the sound? Is it a neutralizing, or is it able to kinetically?
Yeah.
But then again, it's electric, so you're not getting the majority of the sound from that response.
Yeah, I don't sweat
So
it.
I think it's fine. If you get the body you want and it looks the
Yep.
way you want it to, and it's as light as you want it to,
Yep.
and you're happy with it, then it's done everything it's supposed to
Yep.
do in the way you want it to do, and you should be happy with it.
So here's a couple of questions.
10-piece body was the over-under on this
That's right.
equation.
With Les Paul glue
Yeah,
map.
with your, glued side to
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
10-piece.
10-piece
was
was
the
the,
over-under.
yeah.
Yeah. 12-piece, bullshit.
Okay. Here are so here we pretty much answered Caden Luttrell's. Are there major tone differences between 2-piece and 3-piece bodies?
Not too much.
I don't think so.
No.
I think go with I love a 3-piece body for a Fender style guitar. I think it looks right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, here, let me see that little. When
Well,
you're-
here's the 3-piece telly
Yeah.
body right
Did you
there.
use tone glue on that?
Yes.
Dan uses
Yes.
Rue glue
Rue
on
glue.
that.
So, and you look, this is a 3-piece body. Blake,
Yep.
And as you can see here, it mates really well to the design. So when you have the pickups in place and everything, the parts that you're going to see really isn't a huge amount. So this looks great to me. So
I think like I say, I think
Yeah.
a 3-piece body looks like
Looks
it's
good.
supposed to look.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any tonal issues either.
No. In fact, I kind of like the people, you know, when the guys go crazy and they almost make like a cutting board guitar, you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about? And they have like all
Yeah.
the different wood and it takes them like 16 years to pick all the pieces out. I don't have a problem with it.
No, I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple questions. Here's a good one. What is the most underrated wood for use for building guitars? Okay, you and I are both going to answer at the same time on
Are
the
we?
count of 3. Yeah, you got
I
yours.
don't-
You got
no.
yours picked out yet?
No.
Pick yours out. Ready?
No, I'm not ready.
Come on. Okay.
I'm doing this because he can't stand dead time. He's got to fill it.
Do-do-do.
There's only one right answer, Dan. Okay, you ready?
No.
Come on, Dan.
Underused?
So no, the most underrated wood for use. Okay.
Oh, underrated.
Caden Luttrell wants to know what's the most underrated wood for use or to use for building guitars.
Okay.
Okay, so you got yours?
Yes.
I got mine. On the count of 3, we're both going to say what they are. Ready?
Okay.
So it'll be. We're not ready yet. I'm going to go 1,
But I'm
2,
ready
3,
now.
and then we say it.
No,
Okay,
we say it
ready?
on 3?
No, we
Not
say
on
it.
3.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Say it.
Yeah. So it's really 4. Okay, so ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Redwood.
Poplar.
I like Redwood. I love Redwood. It's got that gorgeous sheen to it. It's
And-
got a nice color, but it's not structural. So it's only a top
Okay.
wood.
Okay. And I like poplar because it's really inexpensive and
Uh-huh.
it gets such a bad rap because it's not. It's just kind of meh
But
poplar.
it's a good wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the of those two choices? What is the most sustainable version of those two woods?
Poplar.
Is it? Okay.
Poplar.
So what you're really saying is that I'm right
You're right.
and you're wrong.
And I'm also
Wow.
right. It depends what you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see,
You know,
that's the
2
whole thing.
rights made an airplane.
That's
We could
right.
both be right.
Oh,
That's
that's,
right.
true. That's true.
That's right.
But they couldn't build an airplane company.
Or a bicycle.
No, they did bad
No,
at that.
Okay. Here's
Chris
okay.
does
So
good bicycles.
all right. So here's a couple of questions that dovetail together.
Uh-huh.
So Caden Luttrell wants to know what grade of wood do most major guitar companies use?
Uh-huh.
Les Paul's, Strats, Gretsch, etc.
Uh-huh.
And then he also wants to know, aside from Texas Toast, what other guitar builders is GWE a supplier for?
We supply to a large number. I normally don't like flashing names around.
Okay, but
Yes.
but names that you would recognize, you guys supply lumber to,
Well,
right?
you know, we've been working a lot with Veritas Guitars. They're a Northwest guitar company.
Okay.
And they just started right in some guy's garage.
Okay.
And now they have their own shop and showroom, and they're doing
Sounds
great.
like Matt.
Exactly. I love seeing companies go from just start up, like I have an idea, all the way up to it's being realized.
Yeah.
And they're living the dream that they want to live. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best things I can
It's
see.
pretty neat.
In fact, I get a little bit more enjoyment out of seeing someone grow
Of course
like
you
that.
do, because you know what? You
Sure,
want
so
to
like
do
if
that.
you were like
Walking
a
in.
company like Fender, they've been around for forever. And,
Yeah, which is, I mean, they're great to work
Oh,
with. The
totally.
large companies are absolutely wonderful to work with.
Yeah.
I just get more enjoyment seeing one person or 2 people start something small work together, overcome all the obstacles.
Do
and
you
turn it
guys
into
work
something
with any
amazing.
companies that are like big companies overseas?
Yeah.
Or is it all in the States?
No, we work
Okay.
with overseas companies too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier to ship out to other countries than it is to import.
Sometimes.
Well,
Depends
especially
on
with
what
the
kind of wood?
It depends
yeah,
on
yeah,
what.
with
It
the
depends
wood.
on where it came from. It
Okay.
depends on the
Even
country.
like pallet material sometimes. It couldn't be
Oh yeah.
just a pallet.
The
you have to
pallets
have a
all have to
special-
be
yeah.
IPPC. In other words, they have to be heat treated, and then they
Mhm.
have to be stamped that they're okay for international.
And then when you cut this
parcel
2x4 ESLP or whatever, you might cut that heat treated stamp off,
Yeah.
and now your pallet's no good. and
Right.
yeah.
Oh boy.
But as far as the where is that?
I scratched it out so I don't.
There is the tone difference.
Yeah.
This
What
one?
woods are most major guitar companies
Yes.
using?
What grades?
Yeah. What grades?
That's a great question. The
Okay.
answer is whatever one they need to sell more of. So you don't get a whole lot of 6A because they're not
Yeah.
going to sell a lot of 6A. So they don't use a lot of it. So the most they use is the most common ones that they sell, which would be their middle of the road average models.
Okay.
That doesn't mean all of their guitars are middle of the road or average.
No, because
No.
they have many
Yes.
various
But,
price points that
yeah,
they're
when you're
hitting.
looking at like a $6,000-7,000 guitar,
Yeah.
it better be top grade.
Okay.
Every single last piece.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's just a $300 entry level guitar, it's not going to be.
Yeah.
Which one are they going to sell? Who sells more, Ferrari or Honda?
Yeah.
I know Honda does.
Yeah.
Not that Honda doesn't make perfectly fine cars.
Sure.
I don't want you guys going to hate mail now. Like I love Honda.
Yeah. You know, that's the funny thing is people have no compunction with spending a lot of money for super cool cars, but there seems to be this overriding desire to get the cheapest hunk of crap guitar and try to force it to be something it's not.
Well-
Zumba time!
Woo! They're over the warm up. Now they're fucking.
Okay,
busting
we're gonna have to
through.
talk even louder now, Dan, because of
You're
Zumba.
forcing me, but I'll try.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Chris, will you keep us posted if people can't hear over
Okay.
Zumba? Okay.
I will try.
Okay. Robert Ellison wants to know that he's gonna miss the live stream
And Zumba.
and Zumba.
But this is the part where everyone in the audience actually gets to work out.
Jesus Christ, they're
while
like going
we
for it
talk,
over
right?
there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Okay.
So he wants to know if there are any other woods that once torrified are easier to work with than maple.
Mm-hmm.
Did an experiment in my stove and my house smelled great for a few days.
I saw this.
But the wood was so frickin' hard it ate my router bits. I want to use a piece of accent cedar in the middle of a solid body, but not sure if it'll be strong enough to hold two other. Robert, we're not sure if it'll be able to strong enough to hold the two other outside poplar together with that. So I think what he's saying is he wants to have a cedar in the middle, and he's afraid that it's just going to flex and just bust. I don't think that's going to happen, but
Well, okay, so torrification or roasting,
Yeah.
or baking, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
What it's really doing is it's moving the wood from a state of being flexible to a state of being rigid.
Okay.
That's not making it harder.
yeah.
What it's doing is it's crystallizing the fiber. So, like, let's say you have a piece of wood, a tree comes down,
And there's
you chop
maple,
it.
and then there's maple in
Sure.
terms of hardness,
Yeah,
right?
but
So,
we'll
yeah.
just take any piece of wood. It doesn't
Okay.
even matter at this point. And it's really a whole bunch of fibers.
Okay.
Like a whole bunch of little straws all put together.
Almost like
Now-
the polyester sealer.
Exactly. So as those fibers harden over time, they crystallize. So they stop being flexible, like the tree wants to be flexible, and it actually starts being more rigid. It normally takes 30 to 40 years for a tree to fully harden.
You know, that's something that you've been trying to impress upon me is what torrification actually does. And
Yeah.
that's not dry the wood out as much as it is
Aging.
accelerate the aging
Right.
of the, okay.
Yeah, so we're crystallizing the fiber. So when
Okay.
you have a wood, and it might have moisture still in it,
Mm-hmm.
and you dry it all out, the moisture will come back into it.
It will acclimate to its environment.
Which is how come when you get wood in the mail,
Yeah.
most people, they'll take it and they'll set it aside and they'll stare at it and they're like, oh my God, I love it. And then they'll like be so happy. But then they have to wait for it for a while for it to acclimate to the area before
Yeah.
they start working with it.
This is another reason that Texas toast neck joints are so awesome.
That's right.
That's
And
true.
everything's so dry here that
It does
even
help a
when
lot.
even when it's not dry, it's
Yeah.
really dry.
So
are we getting a
you-
bunch of Zumba feedback? Okay.
Okay, so you have the wood, and you have it's been torrified, and so it's pre-aging it. Now that colors the wood because we're roasting it in an
Which
oven.
is cool.
But what it's also doing is just getting all the moisture out and then crystallizing the fiber so it's more stable, so the moisture doesn't come back in, and it's much stiffer. It's more rigid.
And
it's
you-
in a final state.
It is, in fact, GB and D.
What's that stand for?
Golden brown and delicious.
That's true. I do like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It does. So
Yeah.
it gets a little darker. Now, I
Uh-huh.
love the color.
I do too.
But if you don't like the color, that's fine. You don't have to get the torrefied wood. You can just get aged wood. But with that, it's going to be a higher price because now
Yeah.
somebody has to hold on to the
They're
wood
sitting on it for
decades.
yeah.
Is torrefying and roasting the same?
Yes and no, but there's different ways to get to the same place.
Isn't it like that? But don't those terms get
They-
tossed around interchangeably
They
for the
do.
most part?
They do. They both are trying to do the same thing, which is they want to get the wood into a stabilized form with the fibers crystallized.
But if you're looking at a guitar catalog and
Yeah.
if you see torrefied wood, what the fuck is that? But if you look at it roasted, oh, I know what roasting is.
It's
So
a similar process.
I think that like when
Yeah.
Ernie Ball uses it, they're like, oh yeah, that's torrefied lumber, but they call it roasted
Yeah.
because it's easy to people to remember it.
And like how he said he worked it in his oven.
Yeah.
Now you can do it in the oven, but ideally you want to do it in a nitrogen-infused environment.
yeah. So how long do you guys let stuff roast when you're
About a week,
a week?
up
Okay.
to 3 weeks.
So did Rob? Well, I
It
wonder. He's
depends.
not watching, but Robert.
He did it
when
for a
you-
week.
So he did it for a week?
He did it for a week.
No, I think he said his house smelled great for a few days. So I think he did it for a couple hours.
Could be.
You know.
Yeah.
So what temperature do you guys know? So like if it was maple,
Well, okay. So this is also where it goes.
I mean it's the nitrogen
It-
purge.
It's nitrogen. So so you get the air out and you push the nitrogen so it's non-combustible.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason. Remember, we're breathing 70% nitrogen right now. This
okay.
is the reason why we don't all explode when somebody lights up a cigarette.
Okay.
Or since we're in Colorado, a joint.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that makes it non-combustible. So then we raise the temperature about 190 degrees
Okay.
Celsius, really hot.
Oh, Celsius.
And
Okay.
we just let the thing go. And then how long it cooks for is going to change the color of it. But it's also not always going to be at that certain temperature. They also set them on schedules.
Okay.
Especially with kiln drying. You see a lot of this with kiln drying where
Mm-hmm.
it'll be at this temperature for this many hours, and this temperature for this many hours, and this temperature for this many hours, because you don't want to cook it too quick. Because if you do that, you could actually damage the wood. If there's a lot of moisture on the inside and it gets too hot too quickly,
Okay.
it'll actually bubble the moisture, and then it'll cause something called honeycombing, where the inner core of the wood will be damaged, but the out will look perfect. You
Okay.
can put a moisture reader on it, it all looks fine, you cut it open, and it's wrecked.
You know, Sergeant Bishop did you met John.
Yeah.
He did a test where he took a straight board
Uh-huh.
and put it in his oven, and it actually went from a rectangle to a trapezoid on the end grain. It
Oh,
sagged
yeah,
as
yeah.
he was
So you can
roasting
change
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
mean, there's all these different factors that go into it. So I mean, it's not one set answer, unfortunately.
Okay.
I wish it was. It'd be so much easier. And then the species changes too.
Okay.
And then what density or what?
Wait. So you mean like a jalapeno becomes a chipotle?
Well, no, like mahogany roasts differently than
Oh,
maple.
okay.
And then at the same time, the thickness of the board changes. And
Yeah.
Then, like there's not a lot of torrefication kilns out there.
Okay.
Um,
You guys have one though,
No.
right?
We-
Oh, okay.
we
You know.
use- we use a third-party company
Okay.
for it, mostly because of the cost. The kilns are amazingly expensive.
Okay.
The power supply that they use is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
So when you go into that business, it's an all or nothing business.
Okay.
Yeah. If I was doing that, I couldn't sell wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's no way we could maintain both.
Okay. So you're all about roasting lumber at that point. So
Right.
Okay. Okay. Doug Cooke.
And
Oh,
the
go ahead.
people- And the people we use, I don't want to shout their name out
Nope.
right now. I can say right now that they are amazing. We've been working with them now for about
How many
4 years.
torrefication kilns are there in the States, do you reckon?
4.
So there's
Five.
there's very, very few then.
It actually started in Norway, I think.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Finland. They were amazing. They were doing that on skis about 400 years ago.
The Finns were?
Yeah.
So the Valmet torrefication kiln?
Yeah, they were
Okay.
out there like, with horns. I don't know. They actually didn't have horns. I think that was just for Hollywood.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So it is very likely then that if you buy roasted wood from Dan,
Uh-huh.
you get it from the same place that insert name of big company here gets their roasted wood
They
from.
could.
It may you don't know.
They could.
Might just be.
They might even buy their roasted wood from us.
They might.
So who knows?
Yeah.
It's a big world out there.
Yeah. Okay. Doug Cooke wants to know, am I related to Dan?
Yes.
Okay. No, he actually wants to know, I have a body blank made from sapele mahogany. I think he means it has some unique figuring. Out of that, I want to make
Make
oh,
it
he
pop.
wants to make the figuring pop. Will it respond similarly to figured maple in the application of dyes? No. Unfortunately, not.
No, when you're dealing with, especially a darker wood, it completely changes both the color palette that it'll accept and the starting point.
That's the bad news.
Yeah.
The good news is it will respond well to clear.
Yes.
So if it pops now and you put clear on it, you'll get the same pop. If you put
Yeah.
dye in it, it's not going to pop
And
anymore.
there's certain, like, I don't know if you guys ever do this. I used to put linseed oil on. Like, I'd rub linseed oil on before I did a lot of stuff to try to make that grain pop a little bit.
We use acetone. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's ways to do it.
Yeah. And then we light it on fire.
Do you really?
No, we don't, but we
Oh.
could.
That'd be fun. I've seen people do that, like, on the decks. and
I've
stuff,
heard of guys
but
doing
I
that,
haven't
yeah.
actually tried it on.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's like I spend so much time
Yeah.
on it. The last thing I want to do
Just
is like,
light it on
well,
fire.
this is where the fun begins. It's
Uh-huh.
like, no, what if I can't put it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the bummer part. Okay, Michael Arthur Klassen wants to know, what do you think about bamboo for fretboard, fingerboard, or top of an electric guitar? Would it be suitable for an acoustic top or back? And what do you think of pressed hemp or processed carbon wood combinations? I am making most of my guitars from floor plywood boards.
Those are all good questions, and there's a lot of them there.
When I first met
Yeah.
you,
Yes.
when I first met Dan, it was at the Winter NAMM show, and you guys had a lot of stuff that I bought,
Uh-huh.
and some of them that I didn't buy were like, there were these kind of kooky body blanks that you just made, like, well, we're gonna make one of these because
Yeah.
it's fun. And one of them was ash with a bamboo top, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I really want that, but I ended up buying a boatload of roasted ash 1/4-inch top
Right,
material.
because we
that
had a
worked.
lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So-
well, okay, so bamboo is a really good wood.
It's really a grass, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Would you classify it as a wood or a
It's a
grass?
weed.
Is it?
According to
Hemp is
Alton
a weed.
Brown,
Oh,
it's
no,
a
no,
kind of a
bamboo.
grass.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, bamboo.
Well, you had the judge that made the.
I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's very. How can I put this? I mean, they use it for scaffolding.
Yeah, those guys do
So,
in
I mean,
Asia. They
yeah,
do
so,
all
I mean,
kinds
it
of stuff.
definitely has the characteristics where it can take the weight. I just don't know how well it does with flexing.
It
And there's a lot of
splinters.
splintering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
you want it to be really solid, and you don't want it to have a lot of give on a fretboard,
Mm-hmm.
because it's got to hold the frets in.
Yeah.
And any type of give, and the neck does flex when you have a guitar neck.
Sure.
Which is why we have truss rods.
Mhm.
Is to really fight that neck. So if it's an acoustic guitar, it's up to 180 pounds of force
Mm-hmm.
from the tip of the headstock all
Just
the
the
way to the
tip.
bottom. So when it puts all that force on there, and so if it's bending, I don't know how it's gonna move with it. So I don't have that answer, but it's enough that I kind of want to find out. So I think I'm
For,
gonna get
for
some
me,
and
like
play
if
with
it was a matter of using bamboo or poplar, I'd pick poplar every time.
yeah, I'd pick poplar too.
Just
I don't-
because
But I
Jesus
trust poplar
Christ, they're
more.
going for it over there.
Well, good. That's what they're
I
supposed to
guess.
They're Zumba-ing.
do. Yeah.
They're zooming.
They're supposed to get their workout on.
Is the
It's
Zumba
not-
is
it's not
interfering
seem
with
to be
anybody?
affecting
No
our
one.
thing.
No one gives a crap about
Yeah.
Zumba. How many people are watching right now?
27. As soon as I
I
said
see
that, it dropped
131.
4.
Oh, I have 131.
That's okay.
27 now.
That's
yeah.
okay.
All right. So we covered bamboo then,
Yeah, and as
or
far
what
as
about pressed hemp?
I've never played with press hemp.
I don't know what that is.
Well,
Hemp
I
is-
know
You know
what
what
those
hemp
words
is.
mean.
Yeah,
But I don't
so
know what that product is.
What they do is they take the hemp,
Okay.
and they put it into the fibers, and then they infuse it with resin, I believe.
Kind of like MDF.
Yeah, and
Oh.
they're going to make the layers of it, and that's
So
how
it's
they-
not like the van that Cheech and Chong drove
No,
in.
no.
In
Well,
It
Up
might
Smoke.
be actually,
yeah,
probably,
Or Up
yeah.
in Smoke. Okay.
Was it
It's
Up
like
in
it, or
Smoke?
it's like
It was Up in Smoke,
MDF
yeah.
or yeah.
No, actually, it's a lot like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've never played with it, so I really don't know how it would do.
But if you're doing a battle of the bands,
Oh,
and
you
you have
have
a
to.
pressed hemp guitar
Light it
and you
on
light it
fire.
on fire,
You're gonna win.
You're gonna win
You're gonna
every
win.
time.
And you
Every
have to
time.
call your band Los Dudes.
Los
Yes.
Dudes. No, it was Los Guys.
Los
in-
Guys, sorry,
In
yeah.
Corsican Brothers. It was Los Guys.
Los Guys.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Actually, one of my buddies said it best. He rewatched, I think it was Up in Smoke, and
Okay.
he said that whole movie was really just about Cheech writing that song.
Yeah.
'Cause you
Oh,
can
yeah.
watch him writing different
yeah.
parts of it through the
Yeah.
whole movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I never got
man.
that before.
God, you just took it to a new level for me. Now it's like artistry instead of just me being a little pothead when I was 14-year-old.
So Dan and I both guarantee that if you are at a battle of the bands with a
Yeah.
pressed hemp guitar that you light on fire, you will win.
until the fire department shows up.
I'm not. I don't worry
It's-
about those
it's-
guys.
it's
They're
just-
kind of sticks in the mud.
No, they're not. They're actually very cool dudes. And
My-
anyone who's willing to come up and
My
drag my
cousin
dead
Eric
weight out of a burning building
is a cool dude. I can't speak for the other guys.
He should
'cause I
be in
don't know.
toothpaste commercials too. Your cousin.
He really
Eric.
should.
He really should.
White Power toothpaste. What?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Move on.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
Sorry.
Michael Arthur Klassen. Plywood was used a lot in the 60s and 70s. It works rather easy and with a nice veneer on top. Beech or birch tri-ply. I think what he's asking is, why don't we see more plywood guitars?
That's a good question.
I don't know the answer.
I think the reason why they were using them a lot back then was because they didn't have a good supply of wood that they could get
Yeah.
themselves on. Once they got that good supply of wood,
Yeah.
they just stopped using plywood.
Yeah.
I still see a lot of plywood being used in amp cabinets,
Well, but we're talking about
but
guitar
guitars,
construction. Though. Yeah.
nah, I just don't see it very often.
I think all the glue probably adds a lot of weight too.
Yeah, it could. It could be very heavy.
All right, we got a couple more here. B and Blues writes, "Hi, Mrs. Toast, Matt and Chris. Do you ever feel like a second and third chair?" Yeah. My question is about black ebony from Cambodia. Gosh, it's a long thing here. He's got a big chunk of it. He was getting ready to ebony market. It was given to him by. What's the deal with ebony, Dan?
I think it makes a great fretboard. So yes, if you want to use it,
It comes
for
from all
fretboards,
over, right?
It does.
I mean,
It does.
there's ebony, and then there's what? Where does the blackest jet black ebony come from?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you
Okay.
on that. I'll have to get that one for you. But
Do
when
you
it
guys
comes
do
to,
a lot with ebony?
We don't.
I was gonna
touch-
say,
we don't really
I-
touch. Ebony is
yeah.
one of those woods where there's so much of a demand for it, but at the same time, there isn't much of a demand for it because it's also so regularly found. So not a lot of people will go looking for it. And yeah, I've seen it up to I think like 90, $100 a board foot at the craft store.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really expensive, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of woods that do the job just as well and look almost identical.
Yeah. This ebony at one of the local wood sources that we go to every so often has 4 or 5 chunks of ebony.
Right.
Unbelievably expensive. It's close
Yeah.
to $200 a board foot.
Yeah.
And it's all in
If you
pieces that are
have it-
either way too short
Right.
or way too big to do what you want to do
Yeah.
with it.
I
Yeah,
think he's saying
$120
he has
fretboard.
it.
Yeah.
I think he's saying he's already has it.
Yeah, I think he
Should
has
use
it, and
I
he
say
should
go
use
for
it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Totally. Sharpen your blades.
Yep.
I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, so he's heavy
Change your
as shit.
blades.
Is it
Change
good
them.
for fretboards?
Yes.
Yes. And I think we already covered what the price point is. He has another one here. Another quick one. In the interest of sustainability of lumber, is it possible to build a guitar body from, say, the mahogany boards from Lowe's, Home Depot, and taking and sandwiching it two together to make 1.5 inch thick?
Yes.
Would that affect tone? Absolutely, you can do that.
Yeah.
Don't use dowels. He wants to know here possibly to use small dowels. Do not use dowels. Do not use biscuits. Do not use any of that stuff because it's unnecessary.
Right. The glue does the job.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not something, once it's built, it's not taking a huge amount of
No.
force.
No.
Unless you're dropping it.
And I think too that like that aliphatic resin glue is the way to go. That's why we use Type Bond Original for everything.
Yeah.
We don't use Type Bond 2, we don't use Type Bond 3, we don't use Type Bond, etc. because those aren't aliphatic resin glues, they're polyester glues and we just don't use them. So people ask me all the time, well, you should use Type Bond 2 because it's 2, it's got to be better, right? And then using that logic, 3 has to be better. And it's a different kind of glue
Yeah.
usually for exterior applications.
But remember, they're all doing the same job,
Yeah.
which is just bonding two pieces together
Yeah.
that you don't want to ever come unbonded.
But Type Bond 2 is built for a different. It's designed to be used in a different application than regular Type Bond.
Yeah.
It's not like Type Bond the sequel. It's not better than Type Bond. It's just a
Yeah.
different glue.
But
so.
2 is more than 1.
Yeah, that's what
It
people
is
think,
true.
and so
It
they
is.
buy Type Bond 2 or Type Bond 3, thinking, well, this has to be better glue than the original. But it's a different glue. It's not better. It's just a different application. So that's all of our Patreon questions, Chris.
Yeah.
What do you have for us from the Peanut Gallery? Let's get to those.
So my favorite one was how are baby trees made? And you had a good story about felling some non-indigenous trees
Yes.
in your area, and we had some funny comments about that. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. So baby trees come from seeds, and they grow.
And they grow!
And they grow, but they don't all grow. It's very sad because there'll be hundreds of seeds, and out of those hundreds of trees, you might get dozens of trees, and out of those dozens of trees, very few.
I'm trying to turn you to the right, Dan. You're not going up.
Oh, I
Go
thought you
up.
were turning me down.
No, I'm turning you up.
Okay.
Come on,
so
go
out
up.
of all those trees at that
You're
point.
like Freedom Rock. We want to turn it up.
Yeah, turn it up, man.
Turn up to 11?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
11's more than 10.
It is. It's a lot more than 10. It's one more than 10.
It's one
So there you
louder.
are, and you have all these trees. So you have to plant a lot of trees, hoping that some of them will grow to maturity.
Okay.
Because when they're small, they're a food source. They're a food source for insects. They're a food source for
Oh,
other small
okay.
animals, and so they don't all make it. And so it's very important to overplant to get more trees.
So like we talked about, you cut one down, it's not unheard of to plant 10 more.
Or more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I just saw in India they had a planting day where they planted like 100 trees for every tree or something, and they got like 100,000 trees in a day planted. It was amazing. It was great.
Is Arbor Day like Christmas at your house?
It's not.
Oh. Okay.
It's not. No.
Is Christmas like Arbor Day at your house? Okay.
Yes.
Is
that's
Arbor
better.
Day like Arbor Day at your house?
Arbor Day is kind of like New Year's.
Nice.
And New Year's is a lot like Easter, so we've just, I think it's the calendar. I think we got it all screwed
We're
up.
pagans.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
All right.
Whether
So,
we know it
so
or
what
not.
kind of trees did you have to fell at your place because they are not
Poplar.
poplar?
Oh, that's right. They were.
And what's the problem with poplar trees growing in your
Were,
place?
well, at this particular place, they became rotted very quickly, and they started to become a hazard for the home that was right next to it. So we had to take them down, otherwise they were going to fall in the home.
but
And,
they're invasive, right?
and they're also invasive.
So it's
They
like
were
a,
not
you only
meant
have
to
so
be-
much natural resources,
Yeah.
and if you put a bunch of fucking poplar trees there, then all the other stuff that's supposed to be there can't be there.
And when those other trees are there, then the animals,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the places they're supposed to live because they're used to being in certain types of trees.
Yeah.
And so they go looking
Oh,
for
wow.
other places. So you can actually displace the animals and plants from an area by inducing invasive species, which is how come it's so important to make sure that you're being, environmental when it comes to your plants.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
What else you got, Chris?
So who planted the poplar trees?
Some bastard.
I believe the former owner of the property. And they did it all in a row, so I'm
I
pretty
think Chris
sure
wants
what
you
was
to say
happening.
something.
Yeah.
Who did it, Dan?
Who did it?
Like the name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Johnny Poplar.
Oh, Johnny
oh,
Poplar
that's
seed.
right, Johnny
that
Poplar seed.
He wants
motherfucker.
you to name. It's
I'm
like
sorry.
It's like
I'm
the
sorry.
McCarthy hearings.
Here, I thought you
Drop
really
the
wanted a
poplar
name, like you were
seeds.
gonna go
Yeah,
later and
no.
like take care of the guy. Like, what's his address?
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
don't like him,
What
he's
kind of
gone.
car did you
Charlie
drive?
Evans
That's
at
right.
1234
Phone
USA
number.
Street.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Hope he's
all
got $300 worth
I
of
see
poplar
how this
trees we
is.
can
I'm
ass whip
sorry.
out of
We'll
it.
talk about serious things now.
No. Johnny
All
Poplar.
right, you
So
ready?
fun.
Sassafras.
It
Do you
sounds
Question
fun.
mark.
Do you have sassafras blanks? Eric Johnson recently released a guitar made out
Whoa.
of sassafras.
You mean the Cliffs of Dover Eric Johnson or the
Yes.
Eric Johnson from Electric City down the street?
No, the Cliffs of Dover, presumably.
What the
I
hell
do
is
not.
sassafras?
You do not.
I do
What-
not.
Okay.
what kind of-
However, if you do have wood inquiries about wood that I don't have on my website, or woods that I don't know, because believe me, there's millions of species out there and I haven't heard of all of them, send me an email, give me a call, and I will start putting out my feelers to the buyers to see if we can track it down. If
For
one person
example,
found it,
we
can
have
find it.
been suggesting to Dan that he should get beetle kill pine body blanks
right.
because I think that would be cool.
Now you're going to use those for your body class, is that right?
No, we're not. We use the 4-piece body blanks for the build your own for the bodybuilding class.
Yeah, tell me
With
about
Chris.
All right. So on Saturday,
this Saturday.
we've got 2 spots left. You can come to our shop and build a guitar body with us, and you'll be using this. Shit.
Don't make it look so heavy.
A body blank like
Right.
this. Well, I'm old, so this is one of Dan's 4-piece body blanks,
It's
and
only 7 pounds.
someone will get this body blank at the guitar building class
Mm-hmm.
this Saturday. So 2 days away. If you guys want to come to that class and spend the day with us and make your own guitar body,
I think there's one spot left.
there's 2 spots left.
There might only be one now.
Well, yeah, there might be only one now.
Yeah.
But course price is $300. Then you get to spend the day with us. You get a blank. You get to make whatever body you want, so long as it fits on this blank.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to use My Beloved Pin Router. You get to do
Now,
all kinds of cool
if
stuff.
I
You get
wanna
to
make-
finger bang Lovey.
You get to finger.
I did
bang.
not know that.
Oh, you didn't know you get to use My Beloved Pin Router?
No, I didn't know about the other part.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
that's
that's
Lovey.
yeah,
Lovey.
yeah.
Now, can I make just a square block guitar? Like,
Yep.
can I just put a neck on this
Yep.
and call it good?
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. If
You're
you're
gonna be done by noon.
or before,
We'll
yeah.
be done by 10. I
That
got
whole
places to
safety
go.
lecture shit will be done.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
cut, down, out.
Yep.
Done.
Down the road. So if you guys want to come and build a guitar body with us here in the shop,
And the
we've
shop
got-
is so cool. You guys, if you haven't had a chance to come out here, I was blown away when I walked in here. Well, first of all, last time I saw Matt, it was in his garage.
Yeah.
So that's a huge upgrade.
Yeah, it's a big up. I forgot you were at my home shop. Yeah.
The home shop to this shop is like
It's a-
night and
yeah.
day.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is.
like, oh wow, you're professional.
Yeah.
I mean, and they got all the tools set up, and all the tables are movable.
All these tools were pretty much back in that old
They
shop.
were.
Yeah.
They were. I
Yeah.
mean, it was so crammed in there. It was like, but now you have room, and the lighting is great. I mean, I've been just blown away.
It is.
Blinded all day.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a whole nother kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Then that's back in
Unlike the hotel
original
room I'm
shop.
staying in, which doesn't have anything above dim. I mean, I walked in there, I'm like, are there any more lights, or maybe they don't want me to see the walls?
And we've got a new thing that we're working on, and if everything goes according to my plan, it will be in place within the next couple months, and we're looking forward to showing you guys that thing coming up soon. But I don't want to spill the beans yet. What else you got, Chris?
Rosewood.
Mm-hmm.
What's the deal?
So many deals with Rosewood. Rosewood is one of the CITES, so it
Yeah.
has to be inspected.
Carry on.
It can't go into all the different states. Well, not states. It can't go all over the country. So a lot of builders are shying away from it, because although it's been a really good wood to use for so long, it's very beautiful. It's got a lot of characteristics that makes it very well suited for fretboards, for instance. The downside is it's becoming harder to import and export. The price goes up, and it just becomes a problem.
So if guitar builders, for every 1 board foot of rosewood that guitar builders use,
Uh-huh.
how many board feet do like everybody else in the industry use?
I
You
have
know-
no idea how to answer that.
So-
if they use
So
like
I guess what I'm driving at is, it is my understanding that guitar builders use a fraction of the rosewood that gets used in other
world.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
So if
oh,
guitar
yeah.
builders use 1 board foot, how many board feet get used for all the other stuff?
I don't know.
That's
Okay.
a ridiculous question.
I
to
have
ask.
no idea how to answer
But
that.
isn't rosewood actually typically used for fretboard material?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's very little. Board feet is a measurement of mass that's
volume,
taken
yeah,
out.
yeah.
So it's not like you need a whole lot for
No.
a single
No,
guitar.
no.
No.
I see. I would bet that for every
But-
1 board foot of rosewood used in the guitar industry, 100 board
Yeah.
feet is used for furniture making and
Well,
shit
because
like
the
that.
guitar building industry is really such a small
It
fraction.
is a fraction of
And
the
the
whole
fraction of the
wood
wood
industry.
in the guitar
Yeah.
is the rosewood.
But the weird thing is, although it's such a small part, it's also so out there. Everyone knows the shape. They see the shape. They instantly know it.
Yep.
You know, it's got this big name
They
recognition.
want, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also the one where people go after. Like we were talking
And then
about, like the government.
Yeah.
You know how they like, oh, they gotta make sure there's no poaching. They're really going after, instrument makers, because they're the ones that have the name out there, because that's what gets the most coverage, so that we can get the word out.
We were
be
in
careful.
Tennessee, and we were talking with my friend Brian Nutter, who is still doing well, out of
Recuperating.
surgery and doing well. And Brian, if you're watching, you should hit that morphine pump, because you've been watching for how many hours, and this has got to be one of the most boring things you're doing. It might not be as boring as sitting in the hospital, but
with the morphine drip, it's more exciting.
yeah,
Everything's better with
we're
the
a lot more
morphine drip.
fun. So he showed us a pallet of rosewood fingerboards that they got from somewhere. We're not going to say where they came from in Nashville, Tennessee, but they came from there.
And it rhymes with
And
Son.
he said, we're like, geez, Brian, how many fretboards is that? And he's like, enough to get arrested. So it was.
And now
a
the cops
lot.
know where to go find
No,
Brian.
I'm sure it was. I think it was all like it was all different.
If you
stuff,
don't
I
have the
think.
morphine drip going, you should just start hitting it now.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they were too thin. Was the
That was
No, that does happen. That
Yeah,
does
and
happen.
these were
Yeah.
all like they were under a quarter inch, so
Slightly,
they weren't
yeah.
thick enough for
Well,
what.
you had a great cache of rosewood that you got from that dude from NOAA that was using them as stickers
Yeah.
in drying
Yeah.
wood,
Well,
other wood.
I
yeah.
mean, if you can't use it for anything else, I'd at least like to see it being used.
Well, so
mean,
he was
there's
using
that.
it for stickers to dry, wood, putting them,
And it does make a good sticker.
But then he came and bought them and made a bunch of fretboards.
I think I gave
out
him
of them.
$100 for like
like a
60,
tube
70
box.
fretboards.
Yeah, it
And
was
what's that?
ridiculous.
Yep. Eastern maple versus Western maple. Soft versus hard maple.
Yeah,
Okay.
what's the deal with that?
Okay, and there's a lot of different types of like big leaf maple. You know, that's one of the ones we get a lot in the
Yep.
Northwest.
Is that from Canada?
It is actually, yes, British Columbia. And so what happens is, because the species is a little bit different, you're going to get some different characteristics. You're hearing the Zumba like crazy. But the
Yeah,
other-
all I hear is bah, bah,
yeah, but the
bah.
other thing is the area that it grows in. So depending on what forest it grows in, how much moisture it's getting, how much sunlight, the characteristics come out and change. So I hear a lot of people make the generality, like I've seen 2 or 3 pieces of wood, and now I know what all those pieces of wood could possibly be like
Yeah.
out of the whole. You can't do that. The sample size needs to be much bigger. And there's a huge amount of overlap. So there's a lot of times where I'm looking at the maple, and I can't even tell what type of maple it's from. It's like, it's just too generic. It's too in the middle of the road because it's fitting all of them. So when we're talking about what the different types are, the first thing we need to talk about is how similar they all are, because they really do have similar qualities and similar looks. There is a little bit different in color. I think those
Seems to me like maple, soft maple and hard maple
Yeah.
vary a lot in color and like that.
Yeah.
The soft
The
soft
grain.
maple sucks. I don't like it.
it has its place. It
Okay.
has its place. It's just not the places where we want it to be.
Not for us.
Not for
but
us.
For furniture guys. maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you make a body? This is going back to the ash talk. Can you make a body of half KR and half
Ultralight.
ultralight?
Sure, you definitely can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, so you could have like a 3-piece where you have like the
Yeah.
KR in the center and then ultralight on the side.
So what we try to do when we
With the
have,
bridge and the
when we glue up the bodies, or if you're going to glue this up at home, this is my recommendation.
Yeah.
We try to get the heavier side to be the downside.
The
oh,
base-
you wouldn't have it in the center and then have
No, we'd actually
okay.
would like to have it because we want to try to keep it from nosediving. So we want to try
Okay.
to keep the weight as balanced as possible.
So you want it on the high strings.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's
For
where I
balance.
would put it.
I would
That's
have
for
thought it would be in the
balance.
middle where the
Yeah.
pickups and the bridge were.
Yeah, when you're talking about it for like the middle, if it's like a 3-piece body, you could put it in the middle. I don't know. I would like to have it on the downside just for balance because I
Yeah.
think it makes more
It
of
makes perfect sense.
a feel difference than it does a sound difference.
Okay.
So I'm going to put my money where I'm actually going to get the most benefit from. Now, on the other side, if you're not after that, if you're after complete tone, then yes, I would put the KR in the middle and the ultralights on the side.
Okay.
But tone comes from the pickups anyway.
But so much of it comes from the pickups. I don't want to overemphasize the
But
pickup
wait.
parts.
What about the neck joint, or more to the point, what the neck is attached to?
Uh-huh.
I think if you were going to have a bolt-on neck, like Telecaster style, because you got a piece of KR in the center and UL on the sides, and you were making a Telecaster shape,
Yeah.
that would be ideal because then your neck gets screwed to the KR
To the
point.
hardest thing.
The hardest
dense,
chunk.
strong.
Yeah, that would be. I would think that'd be the
It probably
Oh, yeah.
depends on
slick
body
setup.
style. Yeah.
But I would like to say this.
Uh-huh.
The neck joint would be just fine on an ultralight too.
Of course it would.
So-
yeah, but we're talking about in that
Yeah.
instance
if you're
of
going
what
for
you
like
could.
the absolute best quality
Mm-hmm.
scenario, yeah, you definitely want to have the strongest there.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd still pick to the bottom just because I like the balance.
I think from a sales perspective, you could tell everyone how rad this has a KR stripe of ash.
Oh yeah.
and
yeah.
you could turn that into
No, that's
yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, we're about. I was talking to Alan the other day,
Uh-huh.
and I think he's planning his next little build.
Okay.
And when he does build runs, he doesn't go out and like make 2 or 3. But
Yeah, he makes like all kinds of wacky stuff too, right?
he's a wacky guy.
Yeah.
Loves dancing. But we're gonna do,
loves
I think,
dancing.
probably about 200 or 300 that he's
Okay.
gonna make up for us.
Okay.
And when he does that, I don't see why I can't ask him to throw a couple in there. We'll try it out, and maybe we'll see if there's a difference, and I'll send you one, and you can tell me.
Could
what you
you,
think.
Dan? Could you do me a favor?
No,
Could you really
because it's a fable.
a favor?
A fable.
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 Yeah.
Oh, I'll give you
Yeah.
a fable. Sure.
Could you
Like the
you
mouse
make,
from Russia.
Well, okay, so let me throw this out there. The Texas Toast blanks
Uh-huh.
with a KR chunk that was like 2-inch,
Yeah.
and then whatever else on the sides.
Yeah.
That would be you guys have to buy them all if
Sure.
Dan makes them.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I won't make 200 of them.
No. But we
no,
probably
no,
won't
no.
buy 200.
No,
yeah.
no, no.
I have
Yeah,
a request
definitely.
for you, Dan.
Sure.
Can we get a video of Dancing Alan
Yeah, I don't see why
doing
not.
his thing?
Yeah, he
doing
goes
his
a lot,
thing
like
down?
almost every other weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what if there was Zumba in the?
but
We can
I'll tell
superimpose
you
the
right now,
music. That
Alan
would be
can
awesome.
Dance. He can dance rings around all those girls.
You don't know. You haven't seen the MILFs
I
next
don't
door
need
doing
to
their
see
thing,
them.
whatever they do.
I've seen Alan. He is terrifying, and he's got so much
He's
energy.
terrifying.
He's got no. I'm not kidding. He's got more energy than I've ever seen anyone in my entire life.
Nice.
We worked all day, and he goes out dancing till 7 a.m. and comes back.
Wow.
And he's ready to work the next day.
Attaboy.
Woo!
Well, he's got 7 kids.
Oh, damn.
You've got to have a lot
I've
of
got
energy for
so-
7 kids.
No, I can't imagine having any energy with 7 kids. And he's still dancing. Good for you,
Oh, yeah.
Alan.
What else we got, Chris? You guys can't hear the Zumba, but
This is a
I'm
question about guitar wood experts.
Oh.
Okay.
And somebody was on the website and they said, I don't see any fretboards that would work for a 7 or 8 string bass.
No, I took those down because
Okay.
we sold out.
Okay.
And what the problem was, if I'd leave them up, people would say, well, I'm trying to buy them, and they're not working. So I take them down.
What do you mean they're not working?
Well, because they...
Well, because there's none in stock.
Yeah, there's none in stock,
Oh,
and they can't add it to the
okay,
cart.
okay. So you just don't physically have.
I don't. If I
a lot
don't
of
physically
inventory.
have it,
Yeah.
I try to take it down just to try to eliminate it. Some
He
of the
doesn't
stuff
want
I
to be
leave
a
up-
tease.
So
Yeah.
if someone says, "Hey Dan,
And
I
it is
need a 7 or 8 string
Is-
fretboard
yeah.
for a bass," and they call you direct,
Yeah.
can you help them out a little
Yes.
bit? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Depending
that's
on the
ultimately what it was
species,
hoping.
depending on what I have in stock.
Yeah.
Now also it's how close I am to a production run. So
Okay.
if we're getting close, like we're dealing with the next, for Ash, for
Yeah.
instance, if we're getting close to making some, and people are like, oh, can you do a couple of these for me? Yes,
Okay.
because you're telling me ahead of time.
But
I'm
so
then able to make allowances.
did you write down who that was that asked that?
No, he's just
I
off.
didn't. It
Oh, yeah,
was
so-
super early.
Okay, so if you're watching still and you want a 7 or 8 string bass fretboard
Yeah.
from Dan, call him up, and Dan will let you know what they got that'll work for
Yeah.
you. And if you're super cool,
That's right. Texas Toast 15.
yeah, and you get 15% off of that.
Nice.
And that will be live after
After
the
the
live
show.
stream.
That's right.
That's
I
right.
hope that you guys are taking advantage of this because we only have a couple different companies that we're industry partners with. And I'm so happy that you are working this out with us. And
Yeah.
how long is it going to be active for?
Ooh. Let's make it. Let's say 2 months.
So for
I'm
the
gonna say
next
2 months.
60 days,
This
60
many
days.
months.
you get
Yes.
15% off. Okay. And if it goes awesome, we can talk about doing it
Yeah.
again. Okay.
Well, if it's going to go awesome, then what I'm going to do is come back here.
Okay.
Or have you guys come out to me.
Oh,
We'll
rad.
do it again, and then
Okay.
we'll release a new code with a new amount.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It might be more.
Ooh.
You don't know.
You
but
just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
But if you
looking
use it a
forward to
lot,
seeing like
I'm
how,
gonna say it will.
because like I people ask me, hey, what blah 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 should I use? And so I tell people about GWE,
Uh-huh.
I tell people about Bitterroot, I tell people about Simtech, and I tell people about Russ at MES, and any of that stuff. It's hard for me to track, so it's cool to have a number. Yes, ma'am. It looks like we have someone's asking a question for money.
Oh, so Billy B and Blues just gave us $4.99, but no question.
Okay.
But I have a follow-up question. What is the size of the blanks that you typically send out?
Are these all
Okay.
about the same size?
About the same. So ideally, the minimum size will be 13 and a quarter.
This
wide.
one
This is
is
about 14.
14 and a half,
that
baby.
That would be 32 in girl talk.
Okay.
But no, so this is in real life. So this is 14 and a half
14 and a half by 20.
by 20.
By 20. By like 1.875 planed.
Yeah, this is just over 1 3/4.
Yeah. So that's about 13 and a quarter is about the minimum
And
we
this
go
is
to.
this is smooth. I mean, you could basically cut this out and turn this into a guitar.
Yeah, it's ready.
Boom, you're ready to
Yeah.
go.
But now there are
some of them we get thick.
Yeah,
thick.
well, some of them are a little thicker. But when it comes to the narrow, I actually do also sell narrow one-piecers because I can't stand it. I just, there's so much wood being wasted all the time.
Yeah.
And not everyone makes the same size of guitar. It just doesn't.
Okay.
So a lot of times people will get like a 16-inch wide body, but they don't need the whole thing. They need a much smaller piece. So if I have a piece
Especially
that's
for like a Strat or a Telly, it's like 12 and 3/4,
Right.
13.
So if
Yeah.
it's 12 and a half or greater, I will still sell it as a one piece, but I'll
Okay.
make it a narrow. So if it's 12 and a half to 13 and a quarter, I call that a narrow body because it's a little narrower, and if you're making a narrow design, you can get a really good deal on it because
Yeah.
I'm not charging the price of a two-piece or even a one-piece because I don't have to do any work
Okay,
to it. It's
yeah.
a lot easier.
It's
and
done
I'm trying
deal.
to minimize the waste because again, if I have to chop off an inch, that's just waste.
And
hearing
inches
this?
count.
It's huge.
Inches
is.
count.
Yes.
Here, I have a
Remember when I told
related
you
que-
when the Fuji's come on, they're winding down usually? Oh, we got another paid
Oh, so-
question.
Oh, no, it's not a question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Here Webster says to replace the Ballin Coors cans, and because this has been fun and informative.
Thank you,
Oh,
ER.
thank you.
Well, but there's a related question about the size of the boards. In Spirito, is there more demand for wide wood?
Yes.
Of course there
There's
is.
a big demand for
Because they
wide
don't
wood.
make them like they used to.
Well, that, and I've noticed, like even with your guitars, you're experimenting a lot with your body shapes,
Yeah.
and you're not just going like, okay, there's only 2 types of guitars, and
Al-
that's it.
Although now this is something that this is tribal lore, and I think this is a real thing. So when we designed our Challenger guitar, we got another pay one that we have to answer for. When we designed the Challenger, we went through several iterations of the body design, and my planer is 13 inch.
Yeah.
My thickness sander is 25, and my planer is 13 inch. So we modified the Challenger dimensions to fit inside, so it's 12 and 7/8.
Yeah.
So it'll go through my planer, and I think that a lot of things like that get done because, oh, that's the size of the cutter
Right.
on the shaper.
That's the tools we have to use to make it.
And so if we make it using the diameter cutters that we have, we don't have to go back and chase it with a smaller cutter. It's just done.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things about the Challenger is it got narrowed
Right.
so that it could fit through the
And
plane.
as far as the width goes, some of the one-piece mahogany that I have, and this is one-piece Honduran mahogany,
Yeah.
17.5 inches
yeah,
wide.
mahogany's a big
Yeah, but now most people only have it 14, and so I
Uh-huh.
started calling around. I was like, "So why are you only at 14?" They're like, "Well, they're all supposed to be 14, so I just cut them off."
No!
And I'm like, "No. Let them be wide.
Yeah.
Let the person who's buying it decide
Yeah.
how big they want it."
There's another one that came in.
$15.
All right,
Oh.
so we're missing 2 things here. We got 2 questions that people paid to want to answer to.
No, well, Billy B. and Blue says Dan is an awesome human being! Exclamation point.
And he's a
thank
fucking
you.
Viking. Look at this guy.
Thanks, Chris /
Can
Matt.
I don't
I'm
want to say
here
the F
too,
word
you know,
because your son
Billy.
might be watching.
We should have like hair day, like down hair.
Hair day?
Yeah.
You
I would
should
have a
pull your
bad
hair
hair
down.
day.
Good
Yeah.
God. So that's what Billy B. and Blue says.
Thank
He
you,
didn't
it's very
mention
sweet.
me.
Well, he hasn't
Whatever.
seen you, love.
Yeah.
No, they saw me twice tonight. Anyways, so Doc says, hey folks, quick question. Karina versus Mahogany. Is the difference in price justified by availability / rarity, or is it just first cool hype / notoriety?
I think what you really want to know is what's the difference between all those same differences between Karina and White Limbo. That's where it really is.
Yeah. Well.
Fuck you, Flaherty.
Yeah.
Okay, as a builder, I think that Karina, White Limba, Black Limba is an awesome wood.
Yeah.
I love it. It's not easy to get.
No.
Not as easy as African mahogany.
And African mahogany compared to like Honduran
Yeah.
mahogany compared to Filipino, they're different species of the same tree, really. But what happens is, it's not just about what the wood is, it's also about how they're harvesting the wood.
Okay.
And this is where it comes back into the whole sustainability thing.
Karina, White Limba, Black Limba, that's an African wood, is
Yes,
it not?
it
Okay.
is. And one of the biggest issues we have with the indigenous species from Africa isn't the wood itself, isn't the workability of the wood. Although I do notice that the African wood seems to be a little bit lighter in color, and oftentimes a little bit lighter in weight, but not all the time.
Yeah.
It's still that whole density thing where it just has the range. The biggest difference is what they do with the area of the wood, the trees after they do it. And in Africa, a lot of times what they do is they cut all the wood down and they put in palm, what do you call them? Help me out. Forests.
Palm trees?
What's that?
You know the type of oil, palm oil? Plantations. They'll put in those plantations,
okay.
which just pull all the nutrients out of the environment, and it's just really bad for the earth.
Okay.
And it takes decades for it to recover from that.
If that.
But it's fast and easy for them to grow it. So they make all this money first by doing this, and then they'll come in and plant
And
all
they make-
this,
okay.
and they'll make even more money. but they're not doing it with the idea of it being sustainable.
Like sustainable, like you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
here
they're
in
not
Colorado.
replanting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in
Now,
Colorado
that's
though, you
not-
one year the sunflowers. And
Yeah.
the next,
But
Yeah, they might as well plant corn,
gotta rotate.
which the
100%.
Iroquois Indians called maize.
Mhm.
Probably because it tasted
Amazing.
No, but yeah. I mean, that's another thing, because when it
Yeah.
comes to sustainability, when you cut down a tree, you're kind of supposed to plant more of the same trees that you cut down. Yeah.
Ideally, yeah.
Okay. So
But-
that's what they're not doing when they chop
No.
down the.
Who are
white
they?
limb,
Who is this royal
Well,
they?
so
we're
Dan's talking about
about?
in some of the clear cutting that goes on in Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They don't necessarily plant
Because let's
trees
say like
back, they plant
Idaho
palm.
Pacific,
Right.
they
Now remember, like we talked about in the U.S., there's 600 billion acres
Yeah.
of land in the U.S. Almost 70% of it is farmland.
Yeah.
It's not all forests.
Yeah.
And then with the area that have this forest, you have to protect. And there's no reason why we can't use the wood.
and it's ridiculous to think that these lumber companies would put themselves out of business.
And most of them don't.
You know, no,
That's the thing.
they
They
have
actually don't wanna
nurseries
do
and
it.
they have these little saplings that
Yeah.
they grow, and they have this fire kiln thing where they put like the little freaking pine
Yeah.
cones in and shit,
Yeah.
to make them drop out and fall out. And even like the pulp, they'll make toilet paper out of this shit.
Yeah,
That,
they're
like
trying to
Idaho,
use
yes,
every part
they
of it.
have graded floors that all the
But they might not
sawdust
do,
goes down,
But
and
they might not
burn
do
it.
all of those same things in underdeveloped countries, though.
But I'm saying, like
Because
here, it's ridiculous
not
because
a
they
thing.
they don't
can't.
have to.
Well, it's not even a thing where
They
it's not-
can't. They don't have the-
They don't have the infrastructure. for
Yeah.
it. Here we have the infrastructure. There, they might not have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it's really important when you're buying the wood to not just say the quality of the wood. What can I get out of this one piece? It's also, what does this one piece mean? Like, where did it come from? Can I get more of it? Am I doing
Hey,
more harm
I
than
have a
good?
question for you. What's the deal with Koa?
Oh, I love color.
I do too,
love
and
Koa.
I had a guitar that had Koa, a Koa top, and I had to scrap it because somebody had hacked a bunch of the material away, and they're gonna smoke a turd in hell for what they did. But I had to replace it with new wood, and Koa is so tricky to get.
It
now.
is.
Why is that?
It's a high demand wood.
Okay.
Because it has that name, Koa, and it's also used in a lot of different applications. Surfboards.
Oh, okay.
That's like the prime,
Yeah.
pinnacle, perfect first use of it.
Okay.
And then they started using it for furniture, and then they found out they can use it for guitars. So it's been through the years used in a lot of different products, but it's not grown in a lot of different places.
It's only grown in Hawaii, right? I mean, that's,
Yes, right.
Okay.
I mean, they've tried to move it to different areas, but whenever it's just like with ash, you move the tree, you don't get the same wood.
yeah, you get something similar, but it's not. Okay,
Right,
gotcha.
and right there, it's by the equator. It's got these wonderful trade
Yeah.
winds. It's the temperature's right. You're
What you
getting
got, Chris? Are you laughing at the Zumba people?
No, I'm laughing about moving wood and how.
There's a lot of wood jokes we're gonna
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
There's a lot. The
I
hardness
know all
of the
about
wood.
moving wood because my wood is not the same in California as it is here.
That's most.
I think I'll be
it's
getting
the
some wood
auction
in the
levels.
morning.
Hey, that means that
I don't have any hardwood right now, but
That's
you never
usually-
know.
well, maybe later.
What, Chris? I just saw you write something down. What?
Dan, beard, tips.
Yeah, someone's
Yes.
very
Oh,
impressed
Dan's
with your
beard
beard
is
and wants a
really
beard.
awesome.
And
So-
really, it was. I'm new to a long beard. Any
Okay.
tips?
Now,
the
when
trick
when
is
we
don't
first
cut.
met, Dan was clean
He was
shaven.
very clean cut. I
And
walked in
was-
tonight and I was
I
like,
know.
You're like,
damn.
whoa!
Wow.
Get a load of fucking
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Zach-
I'll
and
give a
your
little
hair's
shout
gotten-
out.
your
Get
hair's
a load
gotten
of fucking
Yeah.
grayer.
I get a
Eric
little
the Great
I get
gray
a-
hair, you
That
know.
happens,
It
right?
does happen. Well, I get a little shout out to my girlfriend Kaylin. She will not let me cut my hair or my beard. We are in agreement. I'm allowed to trim it. No cutting.
I've been hacking mine back with a number 3.
But not on the mustache
So
where
what
it
I
needs
do
to
is
happen.
I just trim the sides up,
That's exactly where you
like
should
right
cut
here,
Yes.
here.
and I
Yes.
just kind of let it just grow here. As far as the color
Chicks
goes,
dig that, by the
I
way.
just get old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad though. I kind of like being old.
Yours is like stupid long. I was hacking bits of my hair. I'm like, so I used to turn it all the way around and then cut it, and then it would be this weird like angle.
Yeah.
So now I bring it to the middle and
No.
hack at
You
it.
just need to let me do it.
I know, but it was like it just gets every. I'm not telling you.
It
anything you
goes
don't
in his
know.
butt
Yeah,
crack.
it
It's
goes in
not
my
funny.
butt.
You know,
It's like-
people do not understand when you have long hair. It's into everything.
Oh, there's like, oh man, you must be so liberated and so. No, it's way easier to have short hair than it
So
is
much
to-
easier to have. But there are nice parts about having long hair.
The
Like
bar-
on a cold, like
I don't
on
know
a
what
really,
they are.
On a really hot day, I'll like dunk it in water and just put
Oh,
a thing and
yeah.
just.
Oh,
like
you know, I'll
automatic
take my
air
shirt
conditioning.
off and put it in the under the sink and then put it back on.
Same thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
So
yeah.
You're talking about your bra, not your hair.
No, I'm talking about my shirt.
Who is it that we used to freeze your bras?
You know, I
I
didn't go to
what
those
else? What
parties.
else you got, Chris? Bra freezing with Dan.
That's right.
From Guitar Wood Experts.
So the proper way is to dunk it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I like that thing where the people take like when it's ridiculously freezing cold in Minnesota, and then take a pair of jeans and dunk it in water, and then throw it up in the air and flip it, and it stands up frozen.
no
I
way.
saw it. No, I
It's
saw it.
cool,
No, it's
yeah.
true. I saw it on YouTube.
It's
It's
cool
pants
AF. Yeah.
I knew a guy who said that he used to put Thompson's water seal on jeans to go skiing.
That's a smart
Because
idea.
I don't know if it's accurate or not, but yeah, that's. You don't think
I
so,
don't know.
Chris?
Sounds like a horrible idea. You need
I-
mink oil
Oh,
as the hot
yeah.
setup for that. Yes.
I think Thompson's water seal would be easier to get a big bunch of. I don't know. So, are there any other questions for Dan at Guitar Wood Experts that we haven't gotten to? I mean, it's been.
been
2 hours
fun.
and 20 minutes.
I've been loving this.
2:20. Wow. Okay.
2:15. Yeah.
Dan, is your son still watching?
Mm.
Is your lady
I have
still
not
watching?
I have not seen.
Is your
any
son
of
still in
his
trouble?
son.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
I mentioned that and on here, and that was that.
Poof. No.
I
Okay.
said,
Well,
I
we
heard
hope
about
that he's
the eggs.
nothing. Well, we hope that if your Dan's son, what's your son's name?
William.
William. That's
oh,
right.
wait, I gotta say his full name. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Now, guess what shows I love to watch? William Austin Tiberius Cook.
You got
Anyone?
me.
Austin.
Let's see. Anyone?
Tiberius.
He got it.
What'd
What
you
is
get?
it?
Yep, middle name
Oh.
of Captain Kirk. I couldn't
Ice Road
resist it.
Truckers and
No, Captain
yeah.
Kirk's middle name is Tiberius. That's it.
William Austin Tiberius.
Oh, that's his name.
That's my
I was
son's name.
I missed a piece of the puzzle. I
So
didn't
yeah,
get
so
all the
not
pointers.
Ice Road Truckers.
Not Ice Road
Okay.
Truckers.
all right.
Oh, Cook, not Kirk. I was like,
Cook.
why is there a Kirk in there?
No, Cook.
Do you ship to Canada? Yes,
do.
but you have to pay for it.
I do
Yeah.
ship to Canada.
Is there any place you guys won't ship to?
The hardest part is taking
No.
Canadian lumber into the
It's the
United
customs.
States.
Yeah,
Going
like,
back there is not a big deal.
Every country has different rules,
Right.
and it's also about different wood. So if I want to move certain products from here to Canada as lumber, that is a different type of shipping than if I want to move
A finished product.
finished product.
Okay.
And so you have to kind of decide, how are you buying the wood? Can you get it milled down here to a certain spec? Is it just straight lumber you want to get?
Texas Toast would probably mill it down to a
They
certain
probably
spec
would.
for you.
We have done so
Yeah.
in the past.
And that would go in as a finished acoustic part. It could.
Mm-hmm.
So like those are different things. So contact me and talk to me about it, because it's not just one of those straight. I will
Yes or
ship,
no.
but the cost of it might be a little higher, or
So
it
many
might be lower.
variables.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Because I get a lot of questions from, hey, I noticed that so and so won't ship to wherever I live, and sorry, man.
And if
I don't
you
know what
get
to
it
tell
on
you.
my website, because I get this all the time, I try to type in my address and it doesn't work.
What do they do?
Call me.
Call Dan.
Yeah, just
That's
call
right.
me, send me an email, and I'll look it up. Most of the time, I perfectly can get it there, but the machine doesn't realize it. 'Cause-
That's a new twist on the Blondie song. Call me, send me an email.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
way
there
to
you
do it.
go. Yeah.
Call the man, Aunt B.
Aunt B, call the man.
Chris was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah.
And when you call Dan to
Uh-huh.
talk about shipping or lumber
Or
or kumquats
That's
for
right.
some bizarre reason, and a KR center with a
Neck.
UL sides,
Mhm.
make sure to tell him about
Texas
TT15.
Toast 15.
Yeah.
And if you do it quick, you can still get in for your class on Saturday.
We've
Ooh.
got lumber for the class on Saturday.
That's right,
But
you
we've
do.
we've
But
got
you got
more
it from
stuff.
me.
We do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We've got so much. All of the good stuff that we've got from everything we've gotten from you has always been awesome.
Thank you.
And I love working with you guys. And it's been, like I said, you've been with us from our most humble of humble beginnings, from when it was Chris and me in the garage, and when we had nobody was watching us on YouTube, and you took time to do a video with us, and that you didn't have any beard then.
No, it was.
You had a Hawaiian shirt.
No, that was Alan.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Alan,
Maybe
I can wear Hawaiian shirts.
Texas Toast and Dan's beard
Yeah.
have been the same thing. Like
Yeah.
He looks like what
We went
Eric the
from-
Red or
from no
something,
beard-
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's streak too.
but
Yeah,
pretending
it's
to
really-
be a beard.
I always look and I go like, does it look like a
Yeah.
streak?
We did a lot to
It's awesome.
to like a full beard
Yeah.
to like an extremely full beard to like
Mm.
the best beard.
That's right.
Because we went from, you know, being not as good as we
I'm good.
pretended to being
No, it's
Wait,
not.
We were
wait.
always fairly humble with like, well, we ain't shit, and you know.
I'll say this right now. It's not what you guys pretended to be. It's what you guys always knew you were. That's the thing. You walked out of the gate saying, you know, because you have all this background. You know, you have all this experience coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing people don't realize is about you is just how much knowledge
He's
you
been
actually
holding
have.
back for
I'm
decades.
holding
Yeah.
back.
In fact, I think the only thing you have is you have trouble promoting yourself.
I do.
Because you're like, oh,
I
I
do.
don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. But you're like, I mean, I'm blown away whenever I'm with you.
Hey man, we do.
Tie that shit up over there. I got it. It's all right.
Okay.
Simmer down
Yeah.
now.
I'm simmered down. And I think that so one of the things that we want to do more of is we want to promote our classes, which I think are a good thing. We've got one coming up on Saturday. If you guys
Yeah.
want to be part of that, we've got, I think, unless somebody has already got them, we've got 2 spaces for the Build Your Own Guitar Body class this Saturday. I really do think that the intellectual property and coming here and hanging out with us is something that people will
Yeah.
really enjoy.
You know, you can't put a number on how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty, it feels hard. You know, when
And
you
the
start
funny
from the
thing is,
get-go.
when you come in, right now, we share a wall with Zumba, so it is very likely that you'll get to do some Zumbing.
Yeah.
But who knows, you know, 3 or 4 years from now, we might be in a different location and you won't be able to get the
Zumba
weird
experience.
overtones of Zumba,
Yeah.
like constantly pounding you with the same stupid, the same stupid ass soundtrack that they have every fucking day.
When the
that- yeah.
Fergie song comes on, right?
The
That's when-
Fugees, yeah.
The Fugees,
Fugees.
yeah.
This is another one that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, I got
But like
freaky,
for you,
freaky, but
when
yeah.
you're back in the classroom, you know, I just, when someone's there and they have a question and you're right there to help them over that little hump that they, you know, are just, it's a block for them. And for you, it's like, oh, no, just 20 seconds of your time, and they're running.
Somebody told me that we were on the top of our game, and I'm like, I don't think we're at the top of our game. I think that when we have given out information to everybody who wants the information, then we'll be at the top of our
When
game.
I quit my day job, we're going to be at the top of our game.
Yeah.
That'll be getting close to being at the top of our
Yeah.
game. Like I say, when
I like
we're,
to say when companies that we won't name today, but you guys keep alluding to,
Yeah.
when they start saying stuff like, guys,
Do you mean-
how in the world can we possibly complete with Exis Os guitars? Then you know that you made it. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think that will happen.
See,
but
I
yeah,
think it will.
yeah.
Don't be a dick.
What? Those companies have no idea who we are, and that's I'm okay
You'd
with
be
that.
surprised.
Oh, that
You'd
dude
be
came by
surprised,
your
man.
booth at NAMM and he's like, hey, I like your flying Y.
I mean, I work with.
I like your eating at the
work with
Y
a lot of big
guitar.
companies,
Yeah.
and I can tell you right now, they are much more connected to the people than people
See,
think
that's
they are.
so
They-
funny, like,
people
when-
like see them as like these, but they're not. They're
Yeah.
out there with everyone else, learning and improving.
Because like when I go
and
home at
trying
night,
new
I don't
things.
watch guitar videos because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh Jesus, the last thing I want to do is like dick around with guitars.
A lot of them do though.
Yeah.
I mean, because you know what it's like when you actually, what's it? When you're obsessed with it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
when
yeah.
you live and breathe it.
Yeah.
You just can't help. You just keep looking in those directions. You keep popping up.
I spend a
You
lot of
pop
time
up on my Pinterest now.
answering. Oh really?
I'm not kidding. I pull up my Pinterest and I see you with like a neck going like, and I'm like, there's Matt.
There he is.
Yep. I guess I better like it.
Quad hopper. I spend so much time. What I try to do is make a connection with people who like what we're doing for whatever reason, and it seems like that's a cool way to kind of give back to that community, and
It's a
that's what I
tribe.
like to do.
It's a tribe.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And that's the other thing too, just how small. I mean, how many times have you walked around and everyone knows everyone else,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you didn't even know they knew each other.
One of my very good friends who is, I've mentioned it before, is Brian Nutter. And when we met Brian for the first time in real life, it was like we'd known him for a long, long time.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what it actually is pin routers. For some reason or another, I'm like the pin router guy on
Yeah.
YouTube. So Brian has a jet pin router,
Uh-huh.
not unlike ours, and I don't want to say we're cut from the same cloth because Brian is way cooler than I am.
Yeah.
But he has the same. We have the same pin router, and so when we met him, it was just a cool thing. And so Brian, again, if you're watching, we hope that you're feeling better, and we know you're in the hospital, and it's a bummer, and we're all pulling for you. If there's anything we can do, please let us know, because you're our brother and we love you. So yeah. So
And heal up fast.
And
everybody
hit that
Heal up
plunger
fast.
for me one time.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody who's
Just
send
tape
some
the
good
tape,
vibes to Brian Nutter
Tie
because
it down
we
the finger.
we
Don't
like.
want to miss it. Mm-mm.
So Chris, have we got anything else? Can we wrap this bad
I
dude
think
up?
We can wrap this up, man. We've answered all the questions.
I'd like to say thank you. Just big thank you here to Texas Coast
Well,
Guitars.
the pleasure
to
is
Matt
all
and Chris
ours.
and Mrs. Toast, because I just can't. The welcome I've had, you guys have just made me feel so like part of the family, and not just because of the place we went to lunch,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
Where'd you
We
go to
also
lunch?
went to
Where'd you go to
Cooper
lunch?
Crunchy gnome.
Yeah, the ladder. I
Oh.
watched you get on the roof.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
It's
so the
been
Grateful
fun.
Gnome, they have Taylor ham.
They
and
have a lot
egg
of stuff.
sandwiches
I
and
had-
Kaiser
I
rolls.
had a pizza
yeah.
burger,
You can
and
get
it was
you can
good.
get like a
It
real
was messy.
New Jersey bagel here now,
Uh-huh.
too, because this guy hired some scientists
Oh,
to
Lord have
turn like
mercy.
Denver water into Jersey water.
How is that
Holy-
possible?
Because they had
Freaking
so,
science, dude.
Oh, it's
fucking
science.
science,
Yeah,
bitches.
science,
Yeah.
If it's science, it's true.
Well, anyway, I haven't seen you in a long time, and your hair is sexy AF.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so good on you.
Mane and tail. A lot of mane
And what's your
tail.
girlfriend's name?
Kaylin.
Kaylin.
So shout out
Atta
to
girl.
Kaylin, and shout out to William.
William.
Shout out to Alan at GWE.
And Calvin.
And Calvin at
Can't
GWE.
forget
Can't wait to
I've
see
ne-
your
I've never
dance
met
move,
Calvin.
Al.
Calvin is the heart and soul. I can tell you that
Right,
now.
right on,
Yeah, when
right
it comes
on.
right down to it, every day he shows up, he puts a smile on everyone's face.
That's cool.
So when he
Yeah.
walks in, there's a theme music. Boom.
It does. It does. And we see he drives this little green Miata, and way too fast,
Nice.
and comes flying in, and then we'll just see. Oh, here comes Calvin, and we're all like waiting because we just love him so much.
I can't wait to see Alan dancing.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to
Maybe
this
you
video.
could go dancing with Alan sometime.
I'm not Ellen DeGeneres, okay?
What? Alan DeGeneres?
Ellen DeGeneres.
I'm like, who the hell is Alan DeGeneres?
No, Ellen,
Yeah, but what? She doesn't dance. I don't know. What
she
that
does her
Just
dance.
shut
That's her
up.
thing.
Oh,
She
okay.
does
You
a
don't
weird
know.
dance.
You
I
don't know.
really don't know.
You don't get it.
Yeah, I
So
get it.
anyway, guys,
That's it.
thank you so much for tuning in to this unbelievably extended live stream with Dan Cooke from Guitar Wood Experts. I want to remind everybody that if you go to Guitar Wood Experts and buy anything you want, you can save 15% at checkout by typing in code TexasToast15. And Dan, that was super cool of you to do. That's going to be available as soon as you go home.
Yes.
And back to the
hotel.
back to the Hilton, the Marriott, and press go.
Or the Super 8.
Whatever.
Wait.
Yeah.
What is your sister's hotel that she managed?
I don't know, the Marriott something or another. Yeah,
Is
the
it?
Marriott.
Yeah, the Marriott. That's the hotel.
Let's just say that's
Yeah.
where you're staying.
Sure.
And if you guys want to come and take the bodybuilding with Chris class, it's actually build your own guitar body with, I'll be here too. You can use the lumber like this from Dan at Guitar Wood Experts. It's this Saturday. We've got 2 spots open. You
And
get to
what
use
type
my
of neck will you
beloved
use?
pin around.
'Cause you're gonna
These
be
are
us-
just bodies. So
Yeah, what type of necks they gonna use?
whatever you want. So if
Really?
you come in and go, I want to make a P bass, you got it. I want to make a Strat, you got it. I want to make a Telly, you got it.
That's awesome.
So we can help you guys out with whatever you want to make, and that's this Saturday.
What about
at-
Telecaster?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Oh
You mean
yeah.
you mean the Daily Driver?
The double D.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we'll be happy to tell you what the POU for that is too. Does Dan? Do you know about POU?
No idea.
That's a thing that I'm trying to make work in the guitar world. It's stolen
Price
from a
lookup?
different. No, philosophy of use.
That's a POU.
Oh,
It's
philosophy
price
of use.
lookup.
philosophy of use.
That's
It's a
PLU.
it's
Now
a-
tell me more about this.
So
Oh, I
POU
see.
is something that I stole
POU.
from a different industry altogether, and it's I think that having a bunch of different guitars is a cool thing, but having a philosophy of use behind each guitar, like if you can tell me, well, why do you have that guitar? You're gonna play one at a time, right?
Yeah.
Why do you have that guitar? Well, because that's my session guitar. That's my this guitar. That's my that guitar.
Well,
That's
there's
my guitar
different
because I think
recording
it looks
guitars
cool.
and there's different live
that's
guitars
right,
because
that's right.
they sound
I have that guitar
different,
because
yeah.
chicks dig it. Or there's also first cool
Or guys
and
dig it.
second cool.
2020, dude.
Yeah, oh, no, yeah.
Or guys dig it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Dudes dig it too.
Whatever gets panties thrown at you, that's what you need to
Whether
fucking
they're,
wear.
yeah.
That's my philosophy on the subject.
And it got so quiet.
Whatever gets lingerie thrown. So,
That's when Zumba stopped.
yeah, Zumba is,
Under-
yeah.
Because they're pulling their panties off. They can't do Zumba.
I've
with their
I've heard that
panties.
Tom Jones now gets like underpants thrown at him still on the hanger.
No, you're taking that from me because I stopped at the place
No,
before we
I'm
went to
not taking it from
Carowinds.
you. I'm taking it from
Carowinds.
somebody else who told me they went to a Tom
So
Jones
what
show.
would the philosophy of use be with that underwear?
The POU for the
Yeah.
underwear? Well, there, underpants has a lot of different POUs.
See?
Some is designed to just be underpants.
You know what? You
and
can wear
some
a
is
pair.
designed to be sexy.
You can wear a pair of underpants one time and sell them for like $50 on the internet.
I can't.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
You can sell them for more than that.
All right, guys. So thank you for joining us. Dan, thank you for coming all the way out from Oregon
Portland, Oregon.
to be with us here in fabulous Colorado in the middle of a fucking snowstorm.
I know, it's been fun.
You came at the worst possible time.
Really? I've been
We've
loving
been
it.
so spoiled for the last 2 months, and then like the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks, we've
It's
been
been
hammered with like
sucktastic.
winter,
Oh, no, this
stupid
is great.
snow and stupid cold.
Now I left like 60-some degree weather for this.
Yeah,
This is
and you
fun.
know what?
up
When you
yours.
leave,
Yeah.
we're gonna hit 50 tomorrow.
And that's when I go
Just
back
saying.
to the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It's just
saying.
going to follow me.
Thanks for bringing this shit to us.
No problem.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dan. So, Dan, let's do some more stuff like this. Maybe we can do some more guitar builds with you in the future.
Yeah.
For different things. We did that GWE guitar. That was real popular.
That was a great guitar.
That was an awesome guitar. So, any of that stuff, like, I'll throw a bunch of ideas at you. You throw a bunch of ideas at me. I'm sure we'll come up with
Sounds
something
good.
that
And if anyone
sticks.
out there has a good idea, I think
That's
that,
right.
Yeah, because that's really the brain trust. It's not just two.
It's a think
It's
tank.
thousands.
That's right. That's right.
Brainstorming really works.
So,
Yeah.
so anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And man, we will see you on Sunday for our standard live at 5 happy hour live stream that we do every Sunday. It's been so much fun. I'm about ready to just fall over. I'm very tired. And Dan, thank you for joining us. Thank you to William and Kaylin for joining us. If you guys know Brian Nutter, send him some good vibes because he's our bro ham.
Even if you don't.
And even if you don't, send him some good vibes too. This is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that life is short. You might as well have a cool guitar. And if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Did I already say that?
I'm gonna punch Brian Nutter in the nuts.
Who's going to do that?
Me!
I thought it was Zach Wilde you wanted to punch in the nuts.
Nope.
Kick him in the nuts.